can kill him if I feel like it. I could knock this one right off the fucking ledge. Right? I think I can. Let's find out. Yeah, this is the end of this person. If I hit them, they're gonna go, oh god. Look at that arc. Yo, they're gonna fall so far. Happy Friday to you, Derek. Are you ready for this? This person's gonna go fucking flying.
Happy birthday!
Good night! Dong fan is
What the fuck? You gotta put them on like your waist and a backpack.
Ding dong dong,
Like,
ding
oh.
dong ding dong ding dong. Calling Master DSP
What was
to
that
the
for?
director's office, please.
Ooh! A quick
Once again,
ding dong die.
Master DSP to the director's office, please. What are you just standing around looking surprised for? Get to the director's office, stupid. Ding dong dong ding dong
Ding dong die.
Okay.
So ding
Director's
dong
office.
ding dong.
I hope I can get it.
Fire shiny?
God damn it. Jumped right into it.
How's it going, everybody? I keep going, but every time I go for the...
Ladies and gentlemen, Garfield and friends.
We're ready to party. We're ready. I hope you bring lots of spaghetti. I'm scared. Come on in, come to the place where fun never ends. Come on in, it's time to party with Garfield and friends. Dancing, fiesta, romancing, siesta, samba, la bamba. Ay caramba, disguises, surprises, and pies of all sizes. Come on in, come to the place where fun never ends. Come on in, it's time to party with Garfield and friends. Come on in, it's time to party with Garfield and friends. Garfield and friends.
And pay attention. There'll be a test at the end.
Hello everybody. Hello and welcome to another swollen __dingus Saturday situation stream. Big ups to the dingas, dongas, and the swollen underscore ones who are here existing in it now. Big ups to all the dingas, dongas, and swollen underscore ones sure to be existing in immediate and far-flung future. Like Juzzy51, the illustrious Juzzy51 who was here, like, immediately. Wow. We also have OIO, as well as, yet again, anybody else trickling on in. We have we have another Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 chill stream. Wow. So, but the big news is tonight, allegedly at 10 Eastern, 9 Central, the super duper final results of the dumbass popularity poll I've been crying about for like a week will finally be unveiled. We're gonna get the results, and I'll do a restream of it. It'll probably be usually it's like a 10 to 15 minute presentation with some other updates. We'll see what all the hubbub's about. But yeah, it's a pre-anime night thing. We have Stelorio. Alright, new stream means a new scenario, so what the hell are we gonna do? We did the medieval map last time. Because, you know, I thought it was like, you know, the king art, kingly shit, medieval, it kinda clicks. We could just go to the prehistoric map. We got other tabs too. They got like expansions based off like different countries. This is the Africa map, Africa tribal drum map. Or we could go with the basic maps here, or the maps based on the various Six Flag parks. It's a buyer's market of maps to choose from. See, this is just the other kingly map, but even greater. What was the I just clicked away from it. What was the objective? God damn it. Right here. 1,500 guests in your park, you must not... Oh, okay. You know, let's not do a medieval map. Let's do a Grugland. Achieve a park value of 100,000 at the end of October, year 2. Should be a quick little scenario for us to focus on. Big ups, praise that soon. Hello, praise the sun. Okay, we'll zoom in. We'll zoom in so it's not, so... Like, it's zoomed in for me, but it's perfect for you guys. I'll live. So this is Crater Carnage, prehistoric-based map. It's very empty. There's not a lot going on here, but that's okay. We can make it something special. And obviously, we'll get some videos fired up on the side for a second here as we await the results. Will we win? Will we win? Will we win? That's a big question. Is the park even open? Okay, it's closed. I was about to say, like, why the fuck would you come here? Why would you bring your family here? What would the... There's nothing to go on. Okay, we'll take it slow here. Why is it thinks I want to build a queue? Oh, okay, here we go. I gotta get back into the groove of it. How long till we get the coaster that only goes halfway before everyone dies? It was easier to crash coasters in 1. It can still happen in 2. Actually, what happens more often in 2 is the dinghies sliding off the dinghy slide. I think it's not playing a Nintendo game. Yeah, it was a Carl demanded it. He said no more Nintendo games. I grew up with this game, man. We had the family PC. I had the fucking disc. I had the triple throw pack. It had all the expansions on it, which is good because like expansions, I didn't really get how expansions worked growing up. It's like, wow, I had to own the fucking disc and then like put in another disc and put on another disc. That's too much. Have it all on one disc for me. No bathrooms, let them suffer. No. So we got the chairlift layout. What rides are we starting off with? So we got ride suggestion, redeem. If I can make it in the game with what I got available, I'll try to make it. You can also submit funny ride names. The dinosaur egg ride, that's new. Dinosaur caveman go-karts with like little Flintstone carts, I guess. Big up Spirited Biscuit. $5 for Flushing. Dude, I'm still fucked over by that lady. Triceratops bumper cars. There's a lot of dinosaur-themed attractions here. Pterodactyl trains. Dragonfly cars. Racing Raptors, Steeplechase. It's like the cat horse ride we made last week. Trilobite cars. Wow, they got a lot going on here. Well, we should probably make this like the main plaza. So here's the issue, you know, this is the whole map. Thank you, and 1337. Dingus will make things better with RCT2, hopefully so. This is what we got. We have no starting rides. We have to. This is the park right here. We got nothing to work with. And big ups Anli. So we have the final results, Anli, for the popularity poll. Allegedly supposed to be happening at 9 Central, 10 Eastern today. Whoa, I'm so excited. Maybe I just start with soft toy stall, a stall selling a soft, cute toy dinosaur. Hello, Snow. Okay, here's how we do it. This is how you make a good first impression here. We have right there, we just put the right there. Info style kiosk. I misspelled style. It's very embarrassing. Oh, we don't need it that close. Now, how much do we charge for the map? The map of the crater. Same price throughout the park. You gotta do the same price throughout the park. I'm thinking $1 for the park map. $3 for the umbrella. Always max the umbrella price. Are you nuts? They won't buy it. What's the max you can put? Oh yeah, we wouldn't buy it, but they would. $20 for an umbrella, $18 profit. $18 profit on a $20 umbrella. You are insane. You better be right. Trust Dingus. Okay, we need some good stuff for the plaza here. Maybe like a starter ride. Let's go ahead and put the bumper cars. I think the crystals down here, you can sell the crystals for profit, but that's kind of gonna affect the scenery. I think this will be a good moneymaker if I put it right by the entrance. Yeah, these are the gout crystals. Oh, wait, the name. Yeah, what do we call it? The default name is Crater Carnage. I was thinking like Grugland, Gout Crystal Quarry. I need some names. It's up to you guys. I'm incredibly lazy. While you come up with names, we'll fire up a video here. We got something from Arlo. Arlo's coming at us live. It's an Arlo update. Arlo alert! Arlo alert, ladies and gentlemen. Should we be worried about the little connector thing on the Switch 2? Says Arlo. Should we? Should we be worried? Let's find out.
To reveal has finally died down, and now we're all just kind of.
I gotta open the park eventually because I got until year 2 for my time limit.
Before the big reveal with all the games
the
and everything. You know,
we can make it right like that.
The generation really.
I'll call it.
It doesn't technically start until the system comes out. But at least at that time, it's gonna feel like we're really rolling. Right now, we're still kind of running on fumes here, just going off of that teaser. But you know, the overall jubilation of such an event, the initial hype has died down, and so now we are stuck with our questions. The questions that we know are not going to be answered for a little while. And you know what? One of those questions pertains to something about the system itself. Not necessarily the Joy-Cons, but the system itself. We know that the Joy-Cons attach magnetically sideways, and it looks... I really can't wait. Like, even with the original Switch, I just couldn't wait to, like, play with the sliding on and the clicking. And now I can't wait to just get my hands on it and just I don't know, just see how it works. It seems very satisfying. It seems a lot less prone to failure. I don't know, it looks really nice, and I really want to get my hands on those Joy-Cons. But it is true that through all of this, through the whole like demonstration that we saw in the reveal trailer, it is hard not to notice that when you take the Joy-Con off the side, both of them, it leaves behind like this kind of big, sticky, outy like connector.
What's he trying to say?
You know, and it's a little bit surprising. I wouldn't think that such a thing would be necessary. I don't know. I kind of thought they would come up with a way to make these things a little bit more flush. It really feels like it connects so deeply into the system. I wouldn't think that you would need these deep kind of connections. I don't know, you think they would just connect at the ends or just in some more shallow way. And yet, when you take that Joy-Con off, there's like this thing that's really sticking out. And, you know, I will admit, it does make me slightly nervous. Just seeing that,
Does it, Arlo? Does it?
Any kind of thing.
He's talking about the Switch 2 Joy-Cons, where now you got to pull them off. So there's a little connector thing when you pull off the Joy-Cons, and he's afraid of that because it's just sticking outside of the console awkwardly with nothing to cover it. So it's like, oh, dust could get in the connectors or something.
The connector is just like bare.
Game fucked up.
Just sticking out completely. There's this fear that if you damage that connector, if it bumps on something and snaps off or even scrapes or whatever, that it could render your Switch console unable to connect to your Joy-Cons, or at least by docking onto the system. You know, you'll always be able to do it like wirelessly, but you know, they charge using the system. That's how you charge them. It's how you connect them quickly and easily and seamlessly. It would be a real shame to not be able to just slap the Joy-Cons on there. So there is a worry there. It is strange because the whole entire rest of the system and all of its design, it seems so sleek. It's so streamlined, you know, like the Switch itself was pretty cool, but they've had so long to just rethink it and yeah, streamline it and upgrade it and make everything that much more sleek and easy and reliable. And so that little connector sticking out, it's quite the eyesore. It's really surprising. It really does not mesh with the rest of the design. And I guess I just have to assume that it was necessary. Something about the Joy-Con technology. No, we really need it to connect right there. There needs to be a little chip connecty thing that slots into the Joy-Con right there for whatever reason. Apparently, that's the way it has to be. Otherwise, Nintendo would have done something else. I don't know, maybe it would have been too expensive. They could have, but they didn't want to.
Whoa, I have one guess.
But this is the way that it be. So you know, I see some people expressing concern over this, and I don't think it's necessarily unwarranted.
Hey, it's raining now. That guy better buy my $20 umbrella.
Concern. You know, Nintendo is certainly
oh my God, he did.
Not perfect,
and he bought my $20 umbrella. How? Why?
Their hardware
and then he immediately went to the ATM.
To, failure or I don't know, failing in just some way.
He's been here for like 5 minutes and he has spent $31 in my park.
Difficulties, damage, wear and tear, all that stuff. So it's certainly not impossible.
And his name is Phil Burnell.
This could become a problem. However, I would like to say I think there's more reason to not worry than there is to worry. You know, I mean, like on, you know, for starters, like I said,
it makes sense, Ann. I feel dirty exploiting the system.
They've been working on this for a long time, and if they have decided that this is probably going to be okay, maybe it's going to be okay. We also have to consider that even though it sticks out, it still seems to be more or less like flush with the side of the console.
Here comes Commissar Authority, 7-string streak. We're listening to Arlo complain about the connectors on a Switch 2. Let's see, D-Sive said something about the connectors. Connector looks contained in the cavity the Joy-Con sits into when attached. It'll only be a problem if you twist the Joy-Cons while connected somehow, or if you have like a toddler in the house.
You don't control me. You don't control me.
What do we name the restroom?
Get out of here. technology.
Oh wait, you guys
Ruining
had
our
that
lives.
idea. $5 bathroom.
The sides of the console
restroom.
really do have a pretty deep divot
El
in them
cheapo
where the
restroom.
Joy-Cons go in, and it doesn't stick out beyond that point. So I
20
think
cents for the
it's a
restroom.
lot less likely that you're going to be just like moving the console and bump it into something. You know, it seems to be more or less kind of protected in that little groove. There's also the fact that I'm at least imagining myself and the way that I might use a Switch at any given time. I can't really see a situation where I have the Joy-Cons detached and I'm really moving the system around a lot. You know what I mean? It's probably gonna be like just propped up on the table in front of me. I'm not moving it around. I'm not using this thing as a tablet. Like, sure, there are like some Switch games where you like take the system itself and do stuff with it. Mario Party, where you're like connecting the whatever.
Hold up. Your park entrance fee is too high. Reduce your entrance fee. Because I got nothing here. It's $10 to get in? This is the default price. I didn't set it like this. It was already $10. Okay, I gotta justify entering this rinky-dink crater park for $10. Hold up.
Is together. If they
I
make
will not
another
lower the
Labo
price. I
where
will
you're, like,
not.
sticking it on a thing. I
Okay,
don't know.
Mark.
But for the most part, though, I'm not doing anything with this thing. It really is just gonna sit there. And I'm already
call
going
this
to be
Dono
rather
Crisis
protective
Donuts.
of this thing. And if I'm really carrying it around, the Joy-Cons are on it. I'm using the Joy, and it's completely protected.
It's my little
at
plaza.
all
What do you
times.
think?
So there's kind of another reason not to really worry about it too
We need
much.
another thrill
and then
ride
there
to get
could
these
be
guys to stick
more
around. How about
that we don't know. I suppose
Now let me hold
if there
back
was any sort of like
on the race
movement,
cards for now.
like functionality in this little thing. It's the idea that like, what if it like slots in? What if you could like push it in and click it or something to like get rid of it for a bit until you're ready to use it? Or what if it's like wiggly? What if it's got some give? I don't know. I feel like they probably would have showed off that kind of functionality in the trailer, probably, at least if it pushed in. So it's probably not super duper likely, but at this point, not technically impossible. It is also technically possible that even if this thing is kind of exposed and there is no real way to protect it, I don't know, what if it's sturdy? You know, I don't know. What if it's like, I don't know, as long as like most of it gets in there.
Let's mine these
as
gap
long as you haven't
crystals for
scraped
money.
off too much of the little connector.
No one will miss them.
It'll probably be okay. Maybe it is just sturdier than it looks. You know, you see that connector, you see it sticking out. That kind of image, the connectors, like we worry about them because even just like my phone where I plug it in, I worry about the inside, like getting too.
People
spread,
worried
'cause
about
it's
this with the
just
Switch
scary.
1 as well.
It's a scary
And,
idea.
you know, the solution is to just not
mess
be a
up one
regard.
connector and you can potentially render an entire device like worthless. So like seeing that exposed part, it's like a body part being exposed, you know, it's just like that's a part, it's supposed to be on the inside, but it's on the outside and I'm scared that I'm gonna hurt it. But yeah, maybe it's not as sensitive and delicate as we're afraid it'll be. I don't know.
Yeah, you're worrying
At
too
the
hard
same
about
time,
Arlo,
though,
obviously.
Technically, it is a
You
possibility.
just need
that
a video
we
to
get
come
the
out,
thing,
right?
And it is very delicate. And a lot of people do mess them up, and they do break, and they do make it so you just can't attach your Joy-Con anymore. I don't really know. I really don't think that's that likely, but technically at this point, everything is possible, and it really is one of those just gotta wait and see kind of things. Is this going to be a problem? It is funny to imagine that throughout, you know, the 8 years of the Switch generation, they have all this time to make the Switch 2, and they fix like everything. You know, the Joy-Con drift, not even a thing anymore. Look, new way to attach the Joy-Cons to the system. You don't have to worry about them getting loose anymore. The systems themselves, maybe we won't have any early, because, you know, early in the Switch's life, you had people with like bricked systems, and there were just like little things here and there. If you attach the little like grip things the wrong way, they're like impossible to get. Like there were all these little problems. You'll see the compilations on YouTube or whatever.
Again, just don't
What
be
if they
dented.
fixed
Imagine
all of
attaching
that?
the grips the
And
wrong
there's
way.
None of that. None
I've
of that.
seen that, like,
awkward,
he's not
growing
wrong.
pain,
People did
early
fuck with that.
hardware, all that stuff, all those problems. Except this. Except this one horrible design flaw. It would be, I don't know, I guess it would be kind of funny in its own way. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Oh, was that it though? Was that really the last thing to
No,
talk
Carl's
about?
leaving my park.
Hardware
I
reveal.
opened it too
Just
early.
like details about the system. Was that it? No, that wasn't it. You know what? I actually no. No, I've got some videos coming up. They'll be main chat. That's it for topic, Harlow. That's it for like the easy stuff. I can we can just kind of chat about, kind of blab about for a bit. But no, I've got some stuff coming up. I got some main channel videos coming about Switch 2. There'll be stuff to talk about, Switch 2 related stuff over the next couple months, probably. I hope. Oh, as a YouTuber, I dearly, dearly hope.
That's the Arlo update. He's he's scared about the connectors, I guess. Okay. Video I've been meaning to watch. To watch some nonsense until the direct airs. Again, I'm told it should be tonight. This is the peak of survival horror and remakes. Resident Evil remake 2002, obviously. I may have made this ride too tall. I did. Depth perception's kind of an issue on this map.
While I'm not a fan of giving games a numerical score, there's no hesitation in me giving the Resident Evil Remake a 10 out of 10.
Now, we watched a video from this guy, the Royal We. Ah, yes. I don't like to use it, but I just did. Because we literally did on one of the Silent Hill 2 post me completing it streams where we watched a couple of reviews. Synthetic Man's, and then this guy's review, Boulder Punch. So I noticed he had a Resident Evil video out, and I want to see what he thought of that series. Because apparently, he likes that series more than Silent Hill. What? Thank you for the follow, Cart.
It's the best that survival horror has to offer, bar none. Depending on what day of the week you ask me, either this, Resident Evil 4, or Deus Ex is my favorite game. It's also the best showing of what a remake is. A director coming back with better technology to create an experience with what he had in mind the first time around. A far cry from the nostalgia baiting and creative stagnation of most remakes these days. Games that, while good, failed to reach the highs of their original. That's not the case with the Resident Evil remake. It exceeds the original. The additions and changes from the original add further layers.
I do appreciate the original Resident Evil one, though.
The end result is the best survival horror experience in how it balances exploration, resource management, and combat. Sure, some of the goofy charm of the original is lost.
How about Captain Wesker?
He is sleeping with the ultimate failure.
But more than makes up for it on the gameplay front. Before we begin, yes, I have done a video on the Resident Evil remake in the past, one in the earlier days of the channel, one I wasn't 100% happy with. Capcom can remake their games, and I can remake my videos, damn it. Check the description or pinned comment if you're interested in the mods I bring up. And special shout out to my fellow Boulder Punchers for supporting the channel.
Hello, doing great, thank you for asking.
If you want access to videos, consider joining the family, son. Grab yourself a jail
They're
sandwich.
Still crying about my park entrance fee, no! We're drinking Pib tonight.
Barry, I didn't mean to get you that excited.
Right.
I'm sure we all know the story by now. The date, late July of 1998. The location, Raccoon City. The STARS Alpha Team, STARS standing for Special Tactics and Rescue Services, is out looking for the missing Bravo Team. The Bravo Team were investigating the Raccoon Forest and Arcade Mountain area. There have been a number of bizarre murders as of late.
Here's what we attract people to the park with.
Perpetrators have been eating their victims. There's been no contact from the Bravo Team since dawn. Finding Bravo Team's downed helicopter, the Alpha Team comes under attack by a pack of vicious dogs. The helicopter, piloted by Brad, hightails it out of there.
Wait, don't go!
Remaining members make a run to a nearby mansion for safety, and we enter the survival horror. The only ones left are Barry Burton, Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, and Albert Wesker. And that can also vary on which character you decide to play as. We have the choice between playing as Chris Redfield or Jill Valentine. But before you decide who to play as, you're given one question. How do you like your games? As opposed to a standard difficulty selector, you're given a couple of answers to choose from. Do you like
on the original, you're just straight up
given
the character selection.
The game
no
has
little
climbing a mountain
psychology
as the default
test.
choice, and is the game's normal mode. with hike being the easy mode. The 2015 remaster added like taking a walk as an answer, the game journalist difficulty, where enemies deal out less damage and go down faster, along with the tweaks of easy mode. Easy offers more resources and less enemies than normal mode, along with a few other tweaks. After this selection, then we could choose our character. Two interesting things to note. No longer does the game mention that Chris is hard mode and Jill is easy mode, something the original did. The original did not have the question of asking us how we like our games. Another thing to note that Chris is the default select, as he was in the original. Like the game is nudging you to play as campaign first. That said, I always prefer to play as Jill first. Jill and Chris have several notable trade-offs in how they play. Jill has 8 inventory slots, while Chris has 6. Jill can get a grenade launcher and earlier access to the shotgun. Jill has a lockpick to unlock certain doors, whereas Chris will need to find old keys to open said doors. Jill's lockpick does not take up an inventory slot. The old key requires one of Chris's item slots and has a one-time use. Chris has a lighter that doesn't take up an inventory slot, whereas Jill will need a free slot to use the lighter.
And we're learning about Resident Evil.
On hand for some of the game's more interesting challenges.
Got a Nintendo Direct that I want to watch. In about an hour and a half.
And has more opportunities for free heals. Jill's campaign will have Barry Burton in the mix, while Chris's campaign will have surviving Bravo team member Rebecca Chambers. 6 years may not seem like much these days with regard to changes in games and graphic fidelity. Some games take that long to develop today, if not longer. But the changes between the release of the 1996 original and the 2002 remake was astronomical. The jump between the 5th generation to the 6th generation was a game changer in more ways than one. The team had a lot more firepower in hand with the GameCube compared to the original PlayStation. This leap in graphic fidelity resulted in a change in how they modeled characters. The team auditioned models to capture the likeness of. They didn't want to end up with the possibility of a lawsuit on basing a character's look off of someone without their permission. The model for Jill was Julia Voth, who they would use up until Resident Evil Revelations before a change. To myself and to many, this is the face of Jill Valentine. While she would have many different looks and appearances, this is the Jill that pops to mind when I think of her. Although personality-wise, I prefer Jill
like someone at the hard way right now.
Resident Evil 3
I just want to make some cheap-ass go-karts to milk
not the Jill who'd like to speak to your manager from the remake of 3.
Like
Years later, Julia Voth would go on to do some cosplay of Jill Valentine. One of Jill on the streets and one beneath the sheets. God bless that woman.
Whoa. Hold the phone. What do we got here? Now wait a minute.
Not the Jill who'd like to speak to your manager from the remake of 3. Years later, Julia Voth would go on to do some cosplay of Jill Valentine. One of Jill on the streets and one beneath the sheets. God bless that woman. The face model for Chris is where things get fuzzy. The Resident Evil wiki lists Matt Mullen as the face model for Chris. This has never been 100% confirmed. There's a blog that I'll link to in the pinned comment and video description that does a deep dive into the face models for the Resident Evil remake. Another possible candidate for the face model of Chris is Ruben Langdon. Best known as the voice and motion capture of Dante from Devil May Cry 3 and onward, he does have experience as Chris in the series. He did the motion capture for Chris in Code Veronica, Resident Evil 5, and Resident Evil 6. The author of the blog was able to get in contact with Ruben to get an answer. Ruben didn't have a concrete one, suggesting that Capcom mixed and matched a few models for the end result of Chris. The same case goes for Barry and Wesker. There's never been 100% confirmation on the basis for their models. It may be a case like Chris where it's a mishmash of models. For Rebecca, they base her looks off Japanese pop star Ayumi Hamasaki. Another major change between the two titles is the appearance of the Spencer estate. Of all the changes made, the mansion received the most overhauls. Most notable being appearance and atmosphere-wise in the entrance hall. In the original, it is well lit. It had a sterile feel to it. The remake goes for a more spooky mansion horror trope. The lighting reflects that with heavy use of candles, along with the occasional flash of lightning followed by the sound of thunder. It's been about a couple of months since the T-virus outbreak that took out most of those who reside around and below the mansion. There is something lost with the move from the more sterile feel of the original mansion. That said, the shift to emphasizing a spooky, abandoned mansion does make up for it.
The aesthetic of the original kind of has like a stale air about it. Like there's just an ominous feeling about it. And I also respect the atmosphere of the new mansion, but it almost feels like it's a bit too clean, while at the same time being that like spooky mansion archetype. Big ups to Papuku and yeah, victory viewing ceremony, an hour and 30 minutes. Allegedly.
It feels more fitting for a mansion crawling with zombies. One of the key reasons director Shinji Mikami wanted to remake the title was on the graphical front, where the team was never quite satisfied with the original's look. And boy, were they able to upgrade on the graphical front. especially with the pre-rendered backgrounds. What Capcom was able to do with the pre-rendered backgrounds from Remake and Zero, which released later in 2002, was astonishing. At the same time, it's a bummer that they more or less act as the swan song of large budget titles using pre-rendered backgrounds. Real-time 3D backgrounds became the name of the game. Resident Evil Code Veronica already made that jump back in 2000. Technology advances allow for developers to bypass pre-rendered for real time, but it's a shame the approach more or less died around this time frame. Some indie titles like Elisa keep the pre-rendered style alive, but I'd love to see a return to something pre-rendered with high graphic fidelity. Something in the vein of what they did here and with Resident Evil Zero. While the GameCube offered the team far more flexibility and power, they still had to work with constraints. The team wanted to have more heavy backgrounds with movement. They had to cut down on the use of backgrounds with movement due to hardware constraints like the disk space. The GameCube disc had about 1/3 the storage space of a DVD. So when you get those heavy shots with movement, like the room in the lab basement with the spinning fan, they stand out that much more. To get the game down from 3 discs to 2 on the GameCube was a miracle in of itself. Capcom brought in Nintendo programmers to help the team squeeze as much power out of the GameCube as they could. Do recall this is the earlier days of the GameCube. Now there are issues with the backgrounds in the remaster of the remake. I could never find a concrete source on it. Looking up info on this led to Steam, Reddit, or forum discussions, but it seems that Capcom lost some of these source files for some backgrounds.
Very common for games of that era.
Zero when they also remastered it. As a result, Capcom had to upscale some backgrounds themselves in ways that could have used in other paths. Some rooms they had to recreate in 3D. Not a deal breaker, but they could have done a better job. So as always, leave it up to fans to come up with better solutions. There are several re-upscale mod projects. The one I use is Rescale by Arcturium. This serves as a spiritual successor to the Re-Upscale project mod. Rescale is what I recommend using if you want the best possible quality for backgrounds. Complementing the pre-rendered backgrounds is the camera to make the most out of them. When I think of Resident Evil Remake, the shot that comes to mind is the entering shot on the northwest wing on the first floor of the mansion. This wing is a new addition to the remake. Every time I go through this door, I take a moment to pause and take it all in. The way Jill or Chris looks towards us, bits of light coming through the window. It's one of the most iconic fixed camera shots in any game. It's one of those textbook examples of what fixed cameras can add to the atmosphere of a game. To note, they had to make some adjustments to the camera angles to accommodate for Jill's skirt with her unlockable RE3 costume. No peeking now. When it comes to exploration, no survival horror game does it better than Resident Evil Remake. The looping level design, inventory management, enemy placement, it's the peak of what survival horror offers. It's a strong testament to how much they got right the first go around with the original. And for a good chunk of the game's development, the remake was more or less in line with the original in its progression. The game's development time was around 14 months. Which seems insane these days, but do recall development times were shorter back then. As well, they already had a template to work from. Of the game's 14 months development, it was around the 10 to 11 month mark Shinji Mikami decided they need to switch things up. Most notable being the mansion section of the Spencer estate. For good reason, it's where you spend most of the game. The original Resident Evil had 113 total rooms, with 58 of those being in the mansion. The remake has a total of 122 rooms, with 56 in the mansion. To be clear, a room is an area with its own loading screen. So why does the remake have fewer rooms in the mansion than the original? After all, it does add new rooms. Like the northwest wing that's past the corpse account, where you have the hallway of mirrors and the room where you find the armor key, or the graveyard behind the mansion, or the balcony on the west side of the mansion where you use the dog whistle. Where some of the reduction occurs is how some rooms are now merged. For example, the entrance hall in the original was 2 rooms. A loading screen separated the first and second floor. Same case goes for the northeast side of the mansion where the save room is, as well for the west hallway where the save room is. There is one notable removal on the 3rd floor in the remake. One I didn't realize at first, one that was pointed out to me. I did a podcast not that long ago with fellow YouTubers The Electric Underground and Under the Mayo where we talked about the Silent Hill 2 remake and remake culture. It didn't make the podcast, but after recording we chatted more about the Resident Evil 1 remake. Mayo pointed out that the remake removes the room on the 3rd floor where you can see the helipad. That little glimpse of a possible escape route isn't present in the remake for whatever reason. Item placement and progression sees a departure from the original. In 1996, Resident Evil had you collect 4 crests to gain access to the courtyard. In the remake, you need to collect 4 masks to use in the crypt to gain the item required to access the courtyard. Keys are in different spots. In the original, you find the armor key by removing the plants in the greenhouse. For the remake, you need to get the invention key and replace it with the real armor key. Some rooms you won't access until later, like the northeast room on the first floor in the entrance hall. One of the notable ways the game throws off those who played the original is the infamous dog hallway. The remake, the first time through, you're on edge. And the game gets you with a crack at the window, but no dogs.
Hello, Ivan.
It's only when you return from the other direction that they'll break through the windows. This northeast section has one of the more interesting changes to the mansion. In the original, if you want to return to the entrance hall, you could take the first floor route past the dog room, or you could take the second floor. In the remake, you have the addition of making your way back to the entrance hall through the crypt. You can unlock a shortcut in the room with the painting puzzle to access the crypt, giving you 3 ways of returning to the entrance hall from the east side. Even then, there's another factor you have to take into consideration in the game's early stretch.
That's a good way to play with people who have played the original
The
before.
one with the save room at the base of the stairs has seen better days. This doorknob will break after 2 uses. You can still use the door only from the south side, not from the north side, the one that gives you access to 2 ways back to the main hall. If you're on the north side, the only way back to the entrance hall is from the second floor. Now this doesn't last the whole game. When you return to the mansion after the residence section, the doorknob receives some repairs. Barry will fix it if you're playing as Jill, being the bro that he is. Wesker will fix the doorknob for Chris. A small change, but this doorknob usage adds a further layer of decision making to the earlier stretch in the mansion. The way the mansion loops back on itself while unlocking further shortcuts is sheer bliss. Many other games, both Resident Evil or otherwise, have made great attempts to looping level design, but none in my mind have topped how the mansion unfolds in the Resident Evil remake. Not only is exploration in top form, but the Resident Evil remake offers an excellent combat system full of decision making. For every enemy you come across is a threat, and you have to take into consideration your limited resources. One way of dealing with combat is avoiding it altogether. Save your resources and ammo for another day.
RCT to chill
process on several
prior
fronts.
to Anime Night.
So one of the best
And
examples
the big
of tank
popularity
controls adding
poll
nuance
final
and tension.
results
For each
later
zombie
today.
you come across can pose a threat. The
AJ
evasion of
Frosty.
zombies is far more involved compared to the 1996 original. If you backed off when a zombie was in range, at some point they'll lose interest and turn away, giving you a generous opportunity to get by. Rooms and hallways are wider and more sparse than the original. The remake has narrow hallways and limits space further with the addition of dressers or drawers. But the biggest change is the aggression of zombies. Once in range, their focus is on you and only you. It's not like the original where you can back up until they lose interest for a moment, giving you a chance to run by. You can try to bypass them as is, but with the narrow hallways, it's more or less a guarantee they're going to enjoy a little snack. That said, there are opportunities you can open up to squeeze by. You need to bait out one of their lunges.
African tribal jungle drum
Back
style?
up at that moment
Sure.
and you'll have a small window in which you can run past. Even then, it could still be a crapshoot. Some may do a second lunge right after, which can catch you if you weren't fast enough. As well, goading out their lunge needs to be precise. There are several times throughout where I wasn't able to get the distance right to get them to lunge. It's a small window of evasion, and there were several times throughout my playthrough where my timing is off, resulting in a zombie grabbing me. It's one of the best showings where tank controls offer plenty of nuance and making the evasion of a single zombie a tense, involved affair. While it doesn't look like much, there's plenty of satisfaction to be had if you're able to avoid a lunge and squeeze by. It's one of those elements you could trivialize if you use the alternate control scheme that was added in the 2015 remaster, where you could use the analog stick to control your character more like a traditional game, where you could spin around over and over to bait out lunges. A lot of the tension, nuance, and satisfaction is now gone. Other tense moments arise when zombies aren't facing your direction, or they're not yet aware of your presence. These moments are always a real crapshoot. You could go up to them, have them turn, and make your attempt at a dodge. Or you could take a chance and run by with the opening. Even then, these can be a real crapshoot. In the original, if you had a situation like this, a zombie will take a bit of time to turn while you run by. There's far less time in the remake before they make a lunge for you. More often than not, these resulted in a zombie grab. Yet a zombie grab isn't a guarantee that you'll take damage. A new addition to the remake is the use of defense items. If an enemy, zombie or otherwise, have you in a grab animation, you can use a defense item to free yourself without a loss of health, along with dealing damage. Defense items don't take up precious inventory slots and can be set to manual or auto use. I always prefer to set to manual. In some cases, you may want to take the damage and save your defense items for another situation, or you may not have the right one equipped for the given situation. Both Jill and Chris have access to the dagger as a defense item. These are most common. For Jill, she has access to the stun gun. This deals far more damage to enemies compared to the dagger.
She gets the stun gun because she's a girl.
Chris has the far more powerful and interesting option with the flash grenade. Shoving it into the enemy's mouth, this will kill and decapitate their recipient. There's a bit of cooldown before the grenade goes off. You can speed up the process by shooting the grenade. If you play your cards right, you can kill other enemies in the process. Flash grenade is generous with its splash damage. Of course, you have to be careful that you're not in range when it explodes. The defense items are a great addition to the game, and add another layer of decision making that the player needs to consider, especially if you set their usage to manual. Of course, you have more conventional options for killing enemies, one being the knife. You can knife them while they're downed after taking enough damage. Or you could play the juke and evasion game of taking a swipe, backing off, rinse and repeat. This takes several slashes, more so with Jill who does less damage with the knife.
Praise that soon taking notes when they finally play the game.
It's going to take a while to take a zombie down or any enemy with one. Several rounds may only put down a zombie for a time. That said, there is a possibility of a critical hit, which a shot results in a decapitation.
What is this, an RPG?
Something that you'll want for more reasons than one. Chris has a higher probability of a critical headshot, happening twice as often as Jill. A trade-off
Unit hated the remake? No! Oh, I think I remember when you played it.
Interesting with what they do with it behind the scenes. In the original, a shotgun to the head was a guaranteed kill against zombies. It's not a guarantee in the remake that you'll take their head clean off. There's some RNG involved with how the shotgun works here. RNG can be tricky to integrate in a way that enhances a game's experience. The example within the series where I found RNG took away from the experience was the Resident Evil 4 remake. In the original RE4, a headshot or kneecap to base enemies would put them into a stagger every time. That wasn't a guarantee in the remake. While the addition of a parry did offset this to an extent,
Crisis 3D.
it did clash the game's faster pace and focus on action. What about here for the RNG of the shotgun? I found it works well due to the slower pace and greater emphasis on resource management. There are some interesting quirks to this system. The first headshot after loading a save is a guaranteed decapitation against the zombie. Some headshots will kill them but not decapitate the zombie, which can come back to haunt you down the line. More on that shortly. Another reason why Jill has an easier time in the Spencer state is access to the grenade launcher. You can grab it off the corpse of Forrest. There's 3 ammo types, the base shell, acid shells, and incendiary shells. The acid shell works wonders against the hunters. The odds are in your favor that one acid shell is all you need to kill. Incendiary shells are most useful against zombies, as you'll burn the bodies for good. Something you'll want to do. Down zombies that you don't burn or decapitate will come back to haunt you in one of the remake's best additions, the Crimson Heads. Like the changes to the mansion, this addition was made later in the game's development. Of the game's 14 months development time, they added Crimson Heads in around the 10 to 11 month mark. An addition that adds another roadblock and a layer to the decision-making process. Depending on your selected difficulty, down zombies will rise as Crimson Heads after a certain amount of time. Higher the difficulty level, the sooner they'll come back. And they are vicious. They'll make a beeline for you at an incredible speed, going for a swipe or a bite. You can get a nice preview of what the Crimson Heads are capable of outside the entrance to the room where you get the armor key. Once you have the imitation key, he'll rise as you approach the door. If you tried to dispose of him earlier by burning him, he'll put a stop to that and a rise. The best way to deal with Crimson Heads is not by giving them the chance to rise in the first place. Juke past zombies and leave them as is. Decapitate them with one of your guns. If you're playing as Jill, use incendiary rounds with a grenade launcher to burn the bodies. Or you can use kerosene to burn the bodies of downed zombies. There are 5 kerosene containers in the game. You could use these containers to fill your canteen. You could use your fuel canteen twice before needing to refill it once again. On the normal difficulty, each kerosene container has 4 refills, 5 on the easier ones. To burn a body, you need your fuel canteen on hand with some kerosene along with the lighter. This is another one of those great trade-offs between playing as Jill or Chris. While Chris has only 6 inventory slots, he only requires 1 slot to burn a body. He already has the lighter on hand. Now he only needs a fuel canteen. While Jill has 8 inventory slots,
we're doing a new scenario here, but
it's
a bit troubling with the
lighter burns up an extra
subgiven.
item slot, no pun intended. If you play your cards right, you can burn more than one body at once. If you down zombies in the same spot, you can burn several bodies. Depending on the situation, you may not have your fuel canteen and a lighter if you're playing as Jill on hand. Precious inventory slots you could use for something else, or to keep free on your excursions. If it's a room you frequent on the regular, you'll have to keep in mind for future revisits. Make a stop by an item box to get what you need for your next visit. Of course, depending on how much time has passed, those down zombies you're hoping to burn are now Crimson Heads. During my playthrough for this video, I had a great moment of Crimson Head emerging at the worst possible time. If Yawn the Snake poisons Chris during the first encounter, you'll switch to Rebecca to grab the serum. The serum resides in the western section of the mansion on the first floor, where the save room is. So what better time for a Crimson Head to arise, while playing as Rebecca, only packing a handgun.
Ooh, scary. Glad you were able to get this old game running without any difficulty. Yeah, thankfully it's got a version on Steam, so it wasn't too bad.
Your plans. They're an addition that always keeps you on your toes and punishes you for sloppy play. It keeps backtracking fresh and tense, depending on how you play. That knowledge of revisiting an old area with down zombies could have plenty of tension and invoke further decision making. It's a mechanic that I wish more survival horror titles would make use of. Well, if done right. 2022 title Signalis did have something similar, although I didn't find the return of enemies to be much of a threat. The 2024 World War I survival horror Conscript did something similar with rats. Down zombies that you didn't burn would draw rats to them after a period of time. Rats would make a beeline for you and you could do some serious damage if your dodge timing was off. While I didn't have a major issue with the rats, it was one of the most common criticisms of Conscript. They had more frustration than challenge in the mind of most players, to the point where they received a noticeable nerf in the patch. While I focused on zombies as they are the primary enemy type, there are several others to deal with, like the Cerberus, aka those pesky dogs. Most pesky while trying to pick up the collar out on the balcony. I hate to admit I died to these buggers more than I wished for while trying to get the collar. There's something about that narrow space and the timing of the second dog that always throws me off, especially while playing as Jill with her lower health levels. Beyond the zombies and dogs, the other main nuisance number-wise are the hunters. Upon returning to the mansion after clearing out the residents, they'll emerge. They're a whole different bag to deal with.
Oh, these guys are pissed because I didn't have a proper exit. Lol.
As mentioned, the acid rounds that Jill can use with the grenade launcher does wonders.
That cutscene was scarier in the OG.
Magnum with both Jill and Chris that can make short work of them. For Chris, this is a great time to make use of those flash grenades. End up in a grab and plant one to deal with them. Hunters are less vicious than they were in the original. The 1996 versions, their attacks are faster, giving you less time to retaliate. That said, there's still no pushover here. Last thing you want is to end up in that range where they can get an instant kill no matter what your health level is at. I had a couple of cases of getting cocky with hunters and not saving for a while to come back and haunt me.
Ooh,
Interesting to note, they did cut out the decapitation death, something present in the original and in the earlier stages of development of the remake. It's when you mix in the exploration with resource management and combat that you end up with this flow that few survival horror titles can match, where you're making larger decisions, like where you're going to go next, with several smaller decisions along the way. When was the last time you saved? Is now a good time to save? Which weapons are you going to take with you? How much ammo? What are your health levels at? Should I take a healing item with me, burning up an item slot? How many item slots should I keep free? That way I'm going.
Wow, the game actually makes you think. You mean you don't pause the game for like 5 minutes while demanding your audience what to do?
Along with the lighter if I'm Jill? Do I have enough kerosene in my canteen? Where's the nearest kerosene container that I can use to refill? What if they're now a Crimson Head? Of course, the game doesn't remain static.
We're gonna call the souvenir store and store.
These zombies or hunters will come waltzing in to always keep you on edge. There are no hip pouches to expand your inventory like other titles in the series. What you start with is what you get. The end result is the best juggling of exploration, combat, and resource management in any survival horror title. Other games in the series have done a great job with limited inventories, but not to the level that the remake was able to reach. And it is such a delicate balance, where it comes so close to becoming frustrating. Instead, it adds so much tension and a layer of decision making that adds so much to the game. It's why I never fault a survival horror title that forgoes using a limited inventory. It's tough to balance item placement, storage placement, how many slots to give the player. Games like Signalis received further patches to deal with complaints about the limited inventory. Ones I did agree with, like some items that took up inventory slots that shouldn't have. When Silent Hill 4 took a crack at a limited inventory, something new to the series at the time, the end result created far more frustrations than adding to the experience. Some of my favorite survival horror titles don't have you contending with a limited inventory. They may focus more on puzzles or the atmosphere, but when you get limited inventories right, like in the Resident Evil remake, it adds so much to the experience. Something you can't have otherwise. While I'm not huge into speedrunning, if I were to speedrun a game, this would be it. It's fascinating to watch speedruns and see what people can do with a game. As of writing, the speedrunner Pessimism has the world record in several categories. About 48.5 minutes for
That's
Jill
a funny
and
name to have for a speedrunner who's like number one in their respective category for the game. They're just entirely pessimistic.
53.5 minutes for Chris. One fun trick I learned from watching speedruns is the scarescape.
Sent me a funny
When you hit
video.
the run button rapidly, Chris or Jill will skip some of their animations while moving on stairs, allowing for faster movement. Thing is, this gets quite tiring.
I already saw
What you wanna
that.
do is
Yeah, it
map
was
the
pretty.
right
It was pretty
analog
good.
stick to sprint whenever you use it. That way you could go up and down stairs in a way that looks like skating with minimal strain. Check the pinned comment in your description to a link for a video on how to set that up. To bounce out everything else, there's several puzzles throughout the remake as palette cleansers. Puzzles that are self-contained, don't take long to do, but offer satisfaction upon solving. Resident Evil has always been great with these kind of puzzles. With how much juggling we do with exploration, combat, and item management, these kind of puzzles are a perfect fit for the game. The remake has a few additional puzzles, along with tweaks to ones in the original. For example, the painting puzzle in the Crow Room now requires you to light the right colors as opposed to lighting the paintings in the right order. The remake cuts back on some of the box pushing puzzles, like the Armor Room. Now you have to push the armor sets in the right order as opposed to pushing boxes. That said, there are a couple puzzles that preferred how they were in the original. like how you
Let's
unlock
get a
the drugstore
handyman in
room
here,
in
triple
Residence.
P.
In the original, you had to light up the 3x3
That's what I
panel.
call 'em.
A classic puzzle. Light up this button, but the others connected to it will switch. You could get the answer for this with the pool table, or you could brute force your way through it, something I always preferred doing. Choice was yours. In the remake, you have to go to a nearby room and make know the colors of the eyes with the pool balls. More of a regurgitation puzzle, one I've never been a fan of. Plus, it's annoying if you're playing as Jill where you'll need to run back to an item box to grab the lighter if you don't have it on you. Another I prefer in the original is finding the login code for the computer in the lab section. I preferred having to decipher the symbols as opposed to deciphering the password from the X-ray placement. Plus, I love that little gesture Chris or Jill will do when they succeed with the password, something absent in the remake.
Oh, the thumbs up, right?
Still, that's a minor
Okay, well, not
complaint.
thumbs up,
It's not
the
like these two
fist
shifts are
bump, the
major
closed
downgrades,
fist.
but ones to note. You take these puzzles and combine them with changes to progression, item placement, crimson zombies, and other changes, you end up with a more challenging and engaging experience than the 1996 original. To the point where some say you
No
don't
sleep
need to
real
bother
vibes,
with
the
the
security
original.
guard.
Something I don't agree with. Is Remake the better title? 100%. But there are changes to Remake that resolve lost that goofy charm that the original had in droves. Most notable being around the voice acting and the script. For the 1996 original, the team didn't give much thought to localization and getting voice actors. The end result is a script with some hammy, unnatural dialogue with appropriate voice acting to boot. Unintentional hilarity that added an amateurish charm to the game that was never the team's intention.
Whoa! What is it?
Whoa, what? Oh no!
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
I'm sorry, you guys.
You must be from the Bravo team.
It's a weapon. It's really powerful.
Especially against living things.
Better take it with you.
Why would you use it on non-living things?
I have this.
Are you okay?
Yeah, so much for him. We got to the root of the problem. You have wonderful talent. I would never work for a company like Umbrella. And Wesker, you were formerly with Umbrella.
Dude, Wesker has the clowniest theme. It feels like it's played in the wrong
they still
key.
kept the cheese factor, but in a more intentional way. The spy localization is one of the key reasons Shinji Mikami and the staff wanted to remake the game. The essence of the infamous Jill sandwich line is still present, but set in a way that's a bit more natural.
Oh, Barry!
This will be the Snort Fort haunted house.
Too close.
You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right. Barry.
That was a close one. A second late, you would have fit nicely into a sandwich.
Oh, that's kind of. Nah, come on. That sounds like them. Like they're embarrassed about the old line, and they're trying to change to be more, so that it flows more realistically. I feel like if the game was remade right now in the now with the Resi 2 remake style, they would just translate it straight, just for campiness.
Out of the group, both in a literal and figurative sense.
What about
okay, we'll call this the Snort Fort.
Don't worry. I like the buddy system we have here.
I see.
Instead of sounding like a confused high schooler, Jill is more calm and level-headed. The same goes for Chris. No longer does he sound like someone who's doing a voiceover for a seen-on-TV product, although they have a tendency to trip themselves up on the regular.
Just goes to show, better voice acting does not mean better, you know?
Wesker receives an overhaul more in line with his future appearances in the series. The 1996 Wesker came across as a mustache twirler of his league during the betrayal scene. Here, he's cold and calculated. Betrayal scene now happens in the Tyrant Room, as opposed to the awkward shuffle from outside the Tyrant Room and into it. And of all the cheesy moments in the original script, Chris laughing at Wesker and the Tyrant is near the top of how memorable it is. Wesker gets all flustered by Chris's reaction. It's hilarious in ways the team didn't have in mind.
This is the ultimate life form.
It's the ultimate life form. Ha 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 ha.
Stop it.
Wesker, you're pitiful.
For the remake, Chris does still laugh, but it's a different kind of laugh, and one that doesn't fluster Wesker. It doesn't undercut the scene, but keeps the spirit of the original.
The ultimate life form. Tyrant.
Wesker, you've become senile.
Aw, see, it doesn't hit.
You'll never understand.
Oh, sorry. I think I fucked up the
It's
window. There we
Rebecca's
go.
character where issues arise when you take the events of Resident Evil 0 into consideration. There's a bit later on in the remake where she's cornered by a hunter. As Chris, you have the option of saving her.
Let me guess. This doesn't make sense given what she faces off with in 0, right?
Now, to be fair, Rebecca doesn't seem to have much on hand to deal with the hunter. For the optional bits where we could play as her, she has a handgun, no additional ammo, and a first aid spray.
This doesn't make sense
Not the best
canonically.
loadout for dealing with a hunter. Besides, it's not like she's familiar with the idea of item boxes. The events of the night before had her dropping items on the ground. That said, considering what she went through
She
the
doesn't know
previous
what
night,
item
including
boxes
taking
are.
down a tyrant on her own, this is a total clash with her character. Rebecca we saw in 0 would never let a single hunter get the drop on her. Again, it's been a couple of long
That's
nights
a
for
retcon.
Rebecca. She's been through a lot. There's a sweet, tender scene between her and Chris where she breaks down crying. All the monsters she's dealt with, friends and comrades lost, the memory of lugging around a hookshot. Remove the scene with the hunter, and you have far less issues with her character clashes between the two games.
Now that's a bit
Besides, the
more in
game makes up
line.
for it with her
That's a bit more in line with what was going on with 0. That she would finally just break down during the events of 1 and then confide in Chris. That makes sense that you would have her do that. But then you got the shit with the hunter. It's like I'm sure if I look at the developmental timelines, they were making this while they were still making 0, right? Because 0 started off as like an N64 project before being moved over to the GameCube. So it's not like they didn't know. It's like, oh, we're also working on this game with Rebecca, and she's the hero. We're gonna give her this character development because everyone loved her in 1, and she's gonna be like the hero now, the heroine. Like, did the teams not communicate there? I'm sure it was like an A team and the B team, right?
Possible death in the final fight with a tyrant. Unlike the original, it's no longer a solo fight. She'll join Chris.
No,
while
that's
Barry will
true.
join
She did
Jill.
have Billy.
It's possible the tyrant
Not
could
that
kill
Billy.
them during the fight, changing the ending. While Resident Evil has never been consistent with voice actors across titles, Rebecca's is the most egregious example. 0 and Remake came out about 8 months apart, yet Rebecca has a different voice for each game.
This room is
that's
equipped with all
bad.
sorts of medical supplies. I could pretty much treat any wound. Want me to treat your wounds?
You expect me to trust you, a wanted felon? I don't need your help. I can handle this on my own.
That's
kind of
bad.
little girl.
One of the funnier bits
What's with the inconsistency there? They were trying to remake the game and make everything better. Like, what's with the different voice acting, bud?
The remake is how the Moonlight Sonata scene unfolds with Chris and Rebecca. Chris doesn't have the musical talents of Jill. He can't read the sheet music. So in comes Rebecca and says, "That sounded like Moonlight Sonata." Where in the world did you get that from, Rebecca?
It's me, Chris.
To be fair, she mentions this after looking at the sheet music on the piano. I know Rebecca is kind and considerate, but telling Chris that his attempt sounded like Moonlight Sonata is a bit much. Something you might tell like a 5-year-old, but not a grown man. I brought this up in my video on the original Resident Evil 2, but I assume the Les Paul guitar in the STARS office is Chris's guitar. While Jill shows musical talent, she doesn't strike me as a Les Paul kind of girl, or one to bring her guitar to work. Les Paul guitars aren't cheap. I could see Chris going to a guitar store and buying the most expensive one to impress his team. He wouldn't start with something cheaper. You go right to the high end.
What
I
is
see him
this? What is
practicing
this
in the office
critique?
instead of
Is
at
this
home,
is
knowing
this
his
canon,
team.
Coggers?
Rebecca, being
What-
too kind,
is
gives him
this a
thumbs up
justified
as part of her
critique?
dies inside as she listens to Chris make another attempt at Stairway to Heaven.
Oh yeah, Remake 5 is next, isn't it?
And then Chris has the audacity to smack talk her first attempt at Moonlight Sonata. Yeah, it's a bit off, but at least you
See,
can
Sarah
tell it's Moonlight
Barclay,
Sonata
security
as
guard, why
opposed to
not?
whatever the hell you were playing.
It goes to our next show. Yeah, Boji could probably solve these music-themed puzzles. Let's bring back the gorilla named Dirtiest Monkey in the Zoo. That'll be our gorilla entertainer.
Oh, what was that?
My interpretation is off a little.
One addition to the character roster of the remake is Lisa Trevor. We won't see her until after the first stretch of the mansion, but we can hear her at the back of the entrance hall.
Ooh, on kokoi.
Before we can gain access to the residence, we'll have to go to a cabin where she resides and where she gets the drop on us. Through notes, her tragic backstory will unfold. Lisa is the daughter of Jessica and George Trevor. George was the architect that Oswald Spencer hired to build the mansion back in the 60s.
Yeah,
Spencer
he ends
had
up
Lisa
getting
and
trapped
Jessica
and
detained
dying,
as
right?
test subjects of the progenitor virus. Lisa's mother, Jessica, did not respond well to it, but the virus responded well to Lisa. She gained incredible strength and regenerative abilities to the detriment of her mind. She's been beneath the estate ever since, with her knowledge only known to a select few among the staff of Umbrella. You don't want to get anywhere near her. While not fast, her attacks have a large hitbox. Bullets are useless against her. In the original game, we access the lab through the underground caves we can access through the courtyard. In the remake, we access the lab from the entrance hall in the mansion. We got a couple of late game items to unlock the door leading down to where we heard Lisa earlier. Beyond the final fight with Tyrant, the decision you make here with Jill will determine Barry's fate. Give him back his Magnum and he'll assist you in the fight against Lisa. Refuse and Lisa will kill Barry, giving you access to the
Barry,
Magnum.
no!
One that inflicts insane amount of damage. Plenty to note that in the game's intro, if you run back to Barry after the appearance of the first zombie, it takes 3 Magnum bullets for the zombie to die. Ah, the power that cutscenes can offer to friend or foe.
Look out! It's a monster!
Let me take care of it!
Damn, Barry, he's already down.
Barry's possible fate differs compared to the original. There, he could die if you didn't wait around for him to return with a rope after the second fight with Yawn, or if you didn't go with him during the underground section.
Oh, I didn't know
At the conclusion
that.
of this
I
fight
waited
with
for
Lisa,
him.
she will find the skull of her mother, before leaping into the abyss below.
I only did one run back in 2022, after all. I'm not a Coggers level expert here.
And even then, that's not enough to kill her. In the on-rails shooter spin-off The Umbrella Chronicles, while escaping the mansion, Wesker will run into her. Lisa at long last comes to die as a result of the mansion exploding. Her suffering is now over. It's a welcome expansion on the original story, with Lisa being one of the most tragic characters in the Resident Evil universe. While the mansion received
canon?
most of the overhauls, I do want to bring up a couple of changes to the Resident section. As mentioned earlier, when I think of the camera shots of the RE1 remake, the first one that pops to mind is the shot in the northeast hallway on the first floor. The second is the introduction of the spider crawling down from the roof in the residence. Hell of an intro to a new enemy type.
All this
enemies
Raising
have become
Cane's
more of a contentious
fries,
issue type in recent
just
years.
the fries.
Note their absence in Resident Evil 2 remake. I'd have to guess the increase in graphic fidelity is the key reason. Over and over, studies show spiders are the animals people fear most. One accessibility option that's becoming more common is an arachnophobia mode. Recent titles like Hogwarts Legacy and Star Wars Jedi Survivor include this mode. I looked up if anyone made a mod that
Pikmin
removes
doesn't
the
have it,
spiders
though.
from Resident Evil Remake, and lo and behold, I did find one. Along with spiders, sharks are a grave fear for many people, and the remake overhauls the Resident section with them. They came across as a bit silly with the room you found them in the original. This area receives far greater expansion.
Yeah, they
with
kind of
what
just
you need
flop
to do.
around.
It's a
Though I'm
great
pretty
addition
sure
to
if
the
I
simple
recall, I
puzzle with a
died to one of the
countdown dealing
sharks.
with the water levels the sharks try to get you. If you're like me, I'm sure your first playthrough had you clenching your butt cheeks after zapping the shark and grabbing the key next to it. Are we sure it's dead? That said, this expansion of this area leads to one of the more annoying optional backtracking sections. As Jill, you can fight the Plant 42 boss or make V-Jolt to bypass the boss altogether. As Chris, if you weren't able to save Richard in the mansion, Rebecca will go assemble the V-Jolt to deal with the Plant 42, else Chris will fight it on its own. The thing is, the path from the drug room where you assemble the V-Jolt to where you use it is far longer than the original. With the water drained, you can't cross the boxes to get back to the shark room from the front. You have to take a longer path and ascend some ladders before you reach that room. To the point of whenever I replay the game, I end up fighting Plant 42 to save the hassle. Again, that's a minor quibble in the grand scheme of things, but one of those elements that the original did a better job of. And the end result is a title that expands on the original, but stays faithful to what it's working with. The runtime is a bit longer, but they didn't blow it out, instead focusing on offering an experience with high replayability. It's not like they took the original's runtime and blew it out to twice the length. I mean, what kind of remake would even think of doing something so disgusting? Unlocks
No,
include harder
Silent Hill 2
difficulties and more
Strays.
outfits. There's a mode that changes item boxes to be independent of one another as opposed to being connected. Another mode is the self-explanatory invisible enemy mode. There's plenty of amusement to be had with using a dagger during a zombie grab. Now you'll have a floating dagger pursuing you. If you want to go further outside the wheelhouse, you can check out the remake randomizer. You can choose to randomize the placement of items,
Oh, big
enemies,
ups,
doors,
shilling
or
a mod.
locks. This can throw you for a loop trying to keep track of everything. You can end up in amusing scenarios where there's a different enemy in the cutscene in the map room.
Yeah, we have all the possible food stalls installed. Installed all the stalls. Oh, gross. Self-felt coaster 2.0? God damn it. Let me make an actual coaster first.
Snake in place of sharks in the shark room. The door randomizer will change the layout of the game. You'll never know where it'll end up next. If you're a veteran of the game looking for a new spin, randomizers are a whole new ballgame. For several years, the Resident Evil remake was only available on Nintendo consoles. The GameCube released in 2002 and Wii released in 2009. It wasn't until early 2015 with the HD remaster did it make its way to PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, one that set sales records. The HD remaster became Capcom's fastest digital title at the time, along with most day one sales on the PlayStation Network. While I couldn't find concrete information on it, I'm guessing the sales success of the HD remaster played a role in Capcom giving the green light to begin development of the Resident Evil 2 remake. Sales-wise, Capcom did learn their lesson about the demand for remakes.
Yeah, we got the Snort Shack right here. It's the haunted house.
The highest-selling title in the franchise.
What else would it be?
Lesson from the success with the HD remaster that they didn't seem to take into mind. That being that there's still an audience for fixed camera, tank control titles. Early in development of the Resident Evil 2 remake, they did have the option of changing to a fixed camera perspective, something they ended up cutting. Something that if you want to experience, you'll need to turn to the world of mods.
Fixed camera mode.
90% of the way there. There's still some foundational issues it clashes with the original game. I talked about this at large in my video on camera mods for survival horror titles, but I'm begging Capcom to take another shot at fixed cameras. Resident Evil spin-off or otherwise. They still make original IPs, why not take a crack at a new IP? It's been so long since they made a fixed camera title. Prove me wrong that there's not a large enough audience for them in the large budget range. Instead, it seems like the remake train will continue as long as they continue to sell in high numbers, creative bankruptcy be damned. And, well, I don't blame them. The end of the RE4 remake DLC did hint toward a remake of 5, but there's been little on that front. There's also been rumors of a Code Veronica and Zero remake. No thanks, bro. Depending on what day of the week you ask me, those two in Resident Evil 3 remake are the worst of the mainline series. And worst of all, rumors of another remake of the original for the series' 30th anniversary in 2026. What would they call that? Re-remake? The world already has one Riri. We don't need more. But there will be people reeing at the top of the
course it has other rides.
Self-included.
Well, we got the spinners, we got the bumper carts, motion simulator, haunted house.
Is enough. Because what we have here is the gold standard.
I'm running a whole amusement park, baby.
What a remake can do. A director coming back a few years later with better technology to take another crack at it. Gameplay additions and changes that add several more layers to the decision-making process. No game within the survival horror world is able to reach the same levels as what the remake offers. Other titles in the series have come close, but never to the level that they achieve here. End result is a game that, depending on what day of the week you ask me, is the greatest game ever made. Survival horror or otherwise. It goes back and forth with Deus Ex and Resident Evil 4 as the GOAT. And I know for many, you're in the same boat. Thanks for watching. Special shout out to my fellow boulder punchers for the extra support on Patreon or YouTube memberships. For those in the thank you for your patronage tier, American Boot and Tom Terrible. For those in the now this is boulder punching tier, Aleatoric Satan, CH3CH2O, Ethan, the Madman, and Waco. If you'd like to further support the channel, consider joining your fellow boulder punchers through Patreon or a YouTube membership. You'll get earlier access to videos, be featured in the credits, receive periodic...
That was a nice video. Yeah, he's gonna shout out his Patreons. No, that was pretty good. No, the remake, look, believe it or not, I've not played the Resi remake. I've seen playthroughs of it, but I did play through the classic one, the classic Resi 1 director's cut when it got put on PS5 a few years back. Those are just one part of the game, but yes, in general, it's using several ride types depending on scenario. True, this one's got a lot of prehistoric dinosaur-themed tracks. Now, I've already seen this, but to get my, I guess, on-stream reaction, Snow sent this in. Hello, Benjamin.
Whoa, buddy! Mersh's car is being repoed live! Whoa!
Hey, Carl.
I love you too.
This is the craziest, most insanest show! You're not gonna believe what you're about to see! be the thing from yesterday's show, but again.
Yes.
He told me not to talk about it. He said I won't.
Now can't you say that about the people who watch DSP every day though?
Not be on the same screen as that fuck Chris Jericho.
I think what I like most is just out of nowhere Mersh shade.
Mersh got up and he left.
Man, like they have like this little bar.
It's Mersh Week.
Like right by the
Mersh car.
There was a
repo.
There was
Gay hands.
There was a cover of my
Gay hands.
Okay, I was gonna say this represents the show for like the first 6 hours, but the last 2 hours is PPV gassed out. But he kind of caught that toward the end there. The model looks like a Crash Bandicoot character. Yeah, like a random Crash Bandicoot enemy. Like early on. All right, we have Ivan video. The Gunt drop. We'll see if I have a suspended tower. I think I just have an observation tower, though.
For many, many years, Xbox and PlayStation have gone back.
This is Nintendo finally announced their PS4 competitor.
Oh, night, J-Wall. For many, many years, Xbox and PlayStation have gone back and forth competing to have the best graphics, the best performance. Our online services are free. Oh, yeah? Well, if a 12-year-old wants to yell slurs at a father of 4 on Xbox, they have to pay old Billy Buys All the Land $50 annually. That's racism as a service, motherfucker. Well, while those two bickered in what was known as the console wars, one thing I always respected about Nintendo is that they quit before the real party even started. They just opted to be like Denmark during World War II.
Doing their own thing.
The first 6 hours, they had zero interest in competing over power. When Microsoft started the war against PS2 by launching the more powerful Xbox original, did Nintendo try to make a more powerful console? No. Nintendo just waved the flag and said, check this shit out, you won't believe it, we made a fucking cube! When the console generations leaped again, unlocking HD, better graphics, and grander games, Nintendo said, nah, we'll stay right here at 480p, fool. Hey, how do you feel about jerking off towards your TV?
Here it comes. Here it comes.
Then when PS4 and Xbone hit the market, bringing gaming and graphics to an
we've got
all-time high of realism, Nintendo responded to that by saying, fuck it, we're not even gonna make games for our console anymore. Then whatever, yada yada yada, Nintendo Switch. However, ever since the Switch came out, Nintendo fans have been edging to the idea of a console that can actually run its games. Rumors have been flying for years, leaks leaking. What will that
Astral
console
Chain,
even
big
look
ups.
like? Will it be a pyramid? Will it be a
Aqua
pentagon?
Saber.
Will it be
I'm
a
sipping on
sphere?
some pip.
It could be any shape. But settle down now, because the wait
I'm doing great,
is
thank you for
over.
asking.
Nintendo has
We're working on a
officially announced
prehistoric
that
Gout Crystal Park.
It's
Drugland.
the exact same console. It's the exact same console. All right, it's
That's
not
what
the same
people
exact
want.
console. Here's what's new based on a little sleuthing. Right off the bat, a lot of people are comparing it to the Steam Deck. Probably because it's all black now. They also said it's gonna run faster. But if you're worried about them potentially stepping in some legal hot water here, allow me to put your mind to rest. I talked to my top guy inside the Nintendo Corporation, face blurred out to protect his anonymity, and he says they went to great lengths to make it legally distinct from the Steam Deck by making it still kinda shit at running games. That being said, if the performance bump is anywhere near as massive as the PS5 Pro, we can still expect an FPS leap from 25 to 23. The screen is larger now, which also means the Joy-Cons got larger. Huge news for the hulking hands community, which I am a member of. Although, if I'm being honest, these Joy-Cons
Imagine a lot of you people are a member of too.
You know, I mean, country girls make do, but out of curiosity, how short are those? 4.5? And that's inches, really. Is that what that looks like? Shit. Thought I was at least that. Well, it looks like we both got a little bit of bad news today. But Baby Hands Fleek doesn't care. He doesn't give a shit. Because there's still so much to be happy about. Like now the Joy-Cons are magnetic, so at least when Smash Bros. Lags and I crack my Switch over my knee, the Joy-Cons will be safe. That's $80 back in my pocket, which I can now use to buy one of their games that never goes on sale. And in more good news, Nintendo has announced Switch 1 games are going to be backwards compatible, meaning they decided not to rob us, everyone. Asterisks. Even money aside, I'm glad
the bare
Nintendo
minimum.
did this because the previous generation had nothing but Hope Streams and Xenoblade Chronicles for exclusives, which had to be the second biggest reason why it failed. What was the number one? I'm glad you asked. Number one, according to IGN, was that the name was too hard for Americans to say. The Nintendo Wii sold 101 million copies, but as soon as they threw that U on there was blood in the streets. These idiots think we don't know how to say we, in America? You stupid motherfucker. motherfuckers. By the way, the is still doing numbers to this day, so you worry about yourself, Igan. Hey, look at that. Your dumbass name didn't stop me from finding that dumbass opinion. That name's nowhere near as sophisticated as Fleek Azoid. That's a thinking man's name right there. Anyways, I'm getting dangerously off track here. In other news, there's a C button, and right now everyone's trying to figure out what this means. It's a conspiracy. Hang on. Maybe that's what it means. No, it's curse controller. Cash communist. China. No, that can't be it either. No one knows what this means. I know exactly what this means. It's C something and T. C something and T. We're missing one letter. Wait. I think I got it. Pat, I'd like to solve. It's no need to dwell
I still
on
maintain
genius.
that it
Let's move
stands
on to
for
another
some
piece
sort of
information.
casting.
The lying media didn't report. Nintendo has confirmed Joy-Con drifting on the Switch 2. Take a look at this.
Oh, great. That's the only thing I was concerned
Maybe if I
about.
put some cars in there, you'll get it. Let me play it again. Just like that. What was that Joy-Con just doing? Drifting. They won that lawsuit, and this is their way of saying, fuck you, you nostalgia whip bitches. At first time, it was an accident, but this time, these Joy-Cons are gonna drift off that fucking controller and across your $20 IKEA desk. Once again, that is a direct quote from my insider, but take all this with a grain of rice. I don't even know if he's a trustworthy source. However, a very trustworthy source, dare I say, a bastion of integrity and Christian values, former Activision CEO Bobby Kotick has confirmed that the Nintendo Switch 2 will be as powerful as the base level PS4. Finally! God forgive me for coming in my cargo shorts, but I say today's a special day. It's about God. That's exactly right, Uncle Wee Fleek. It is about goddamn time. Forget everything I said. I love you, Nintendo. All I've been asking for 8 years is a Switch Pro, and now you give me this beast? There's only like a couple consoles in the world that are more powerful than this. We're talking the PS4 Pro, the PS5, the PS5 Slim, my toaster, the PS5 Pro, the Xbox One X, the original Steam engine from 1712, the Series X, the Series... No, not that one. The Steam Deck, my Ninja Blender. But you know what none of those consoles has over the Switch 2? Exclusives. Power doesn't mean shit if you have nothing to use it on. Nintendo's got 3D Mario, 2D Mario, Paper Mario, Mario Kart, Mario Sport, and you know I can't forget Mario Party, Mario Rabbids, Zelda, Bayonetta, Metroid, Smash Bros, Kirby, Pokemon, Astral Chain, Xenoblade, Wii Fit Trainer, Wii Fit Trainer, Wii Fit Trainer, Nintendogs. They're eating the Nintendogs. And finally, I'll be able to run them all at a stable 30 FPS. I'm going to Nintendo World, pimp.
I am going to commit great crime. I'm going to bust nut in Water Tower.
Thanks to the Polka Pimps for bankrolling this video, and another huge thanks to all the pimpers for buying me all these full-price Nintendo Switch games from 8 years ago. All right, we're staying in Japan for the next one.
Thank you, Ivan Zypher, for the video. Oh my god, how did this guy get... Look, this guy's just wandering around. How did this guy get stuck here? Look, wait a minute. How did he get trapped? Oh, he's just wandering around. What happened? Let's put him in the lava. Oh, it's just for show. Alright, let's help him out. Yeah, he broke boundaries. Just like that channel boundary break. Put him right there. He, seems like he wants to leave the park. I can't imagine why. Yeah, maybe it was Jade. It was just not wheelchair accessible. Okay, let's go ahead and test this. We'll put the jungle drums music. My very shitty pterodactyl roller coaster. Gonna see what stats we come back with that one. Okay, we got 30 minutes for this Nintendo Direct to drop. I call it a Nintendo Direct, but it's actually called FEH Channel. Oh, why do you keep sending shit? I have shit to watch too. Oh, the Billy Mitchell video? Yeah, I already... that's one I saw off stream. I know, it's a Carl Jobst update. It's just him going over the cartoon, right? I want to hear the fucking... Look, it's a slow news day for Carl. But I want to hear the verdict on the case. I know he's just stalling for time over there. Alright, well, this is just a random implement video that's been sitting in there collecting dust for ages. This is poker's greatest tournament run.
A standard deck of playing cards can be arranged in a number of ways. In fact, that exact number happens to be 52 factorial, which can otherwise be expressed like this, or in standard notation, like this. It's a number so astronomically huge that it would take me a minute to even pronounce the whole thing.
Max literal G's 3.303 G. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
With our human frame of reference. It doesn't really make sense how this unfathomable quantity manages to fit neatly inside such a simple man-made object. Depending on how you look at it, a deck of cards might as well contain all the possibilities in the universe. The whims of chance are as tantalizing as they are confounding, something that exists just beyond the realm of our control. If you manage to achieve total mastery over the odds, you could basically do anything you wanted. Anyone who somehow harnessed this elusive power would suddenly gain access to unlimited possibilities. You could dodge bullets, hit every green light, and never lose at Monopoly again. But if we're being honest, you and I both know exactly how everyone would use this ability. They'd immediately go out and buy a winning lottery ticket, hit a 25-way parlay, and dump everything else into tomorrow's best performing stock. Because if there's one thing people love to imagine themselves doing, it's getting rich. When given one shot at a lucky streak, the best we could hope to do with it would be to make some serious money. Allow me to introduce you to the star of our story. His name is Chris Moneymaker.
It's literally his name!
Yes, that is his real name. It is believed to have descended from the German name Nurmacher, belonging to distant relatives who manufactured silver and gold coins. Chris would end up working with money in his own right, earning a modest living as an accountant for a local restaurant chain. His life was average in just about every way, until one fateful evening when everything took an unexpected turn. The story of Chris Moneymaker began with what most of you are probably doing right now, staring at a screen while trying to kill some time. The year was 2003, and online poker had taken America by storm. While the game of poker in one form or another had existed for centuries, its popularity didn't really take off until the advent of one specific variant. The name of the game is No Limit Hold'em, where players have to make the most out of 5 community cards and just 2 hole cards, which are unknown to the rest of the table.
Yeah, I'm not a cards guy.
Hold'em is easy to understand and difficult to master, but what makes it rather unique is its delicate balance between luck and skill. A game like chess, for example, is entirely skill-based.
Yeah, you'd be the talk of the blacktop if that was your last name.
Strategic mastery of the player.
For sure.
There is really no other way to win besides outplaying your opponent heads up. This leads to fair but predictable results in competitive play, where the winner almost always comes down to the better player. On the opposite side of the spectrum, you have a game like slots, whose outcome is entirely dependent on luck. The player is fully at the mercy of chance, with no way to gain any sort of strategic edge. There is no real difference between new and experienced players, since everyone has equal odds at hitting the jackpot. In slots, anyone can win, but no one has any control over whether they do. And then, somewhere in the middle, you have poker. A shuffled deck of cards may seem as random as a slot machine, but with enough practice and game sense, skilled players do manage to gain an edge over the competition. That edge is achieved through America's favorite pastime, lying. You see, poker is ultimately a game of
No wonder
information.
Phil does it so much.
The advantage exists in gathering information about your opponent's cards while concealing your own. Information can be communicated through betting. Typically, a big bet is supposed to represent a strong hand, but that's not always the case. Since you can never be certain about your opponent's cards, there is always an opportunity for deception. The technique of bluffing allows poker players to overcome losing hands by pretending to have something stronger. Understanding precisely when to bluff adds a layer of skill and complexity to an otherwise random game. In poker, the best player doesn't always win, but if you play your cards right, you can still stand a fighting chance even when the odds aren't in your favor. Throughout his life, Chris Moneymaker never saw himself as anything more than an amateur player. His only action came from various low-stakes online rooms. Compared to the competition, he was above average, often winning more than he lost.
Maybe once
But
Jack
one
gets
day
out of
in
prison,
April 2003,
lost in here
he
can take
finds
some tips
himself
from this
on
guy.
the run of his life. It all started with an $86 buy-in to an online tournament on the site PokerStars.com. After several hours, he is one of the final 4 players remaining. By now, Chris had participated in dozens of these events, but he never come this close to winning. Unfortunately, this just so happens to be a tournament he's not trying to win. His initial plan is to flame out in 4th place and collect the $8,000 cash prize to pay off some credit card debt. That's because the grand prize of this tournament is a little unorthodox. Rather than a cash payout, the top 3 finishers will be given a free ticket to the World Series of Poker main event, otherwise known as the most
if you want to pay off some debt
tournament in
pretty
all of
quickly, it'd
poker.
probably be in your favor
Chris
to not win
reasonably
first.
concludes that his chances of finishing in the money at such an event would be slim to none, and prepares for the far more sensible option of taking the money right in front of him. However, in the heat of the moment, he stops to reconsider his options.
I like the illustrations
While he really
here.
wants
They
to cash
original
out,
for the video,
his
I
friends and
presume.
family are far more excited about the alternative. After mulling it over for a bit, they eventually convince him to answer the call to adventure, under one condition. Unwilling to leave so much money on the table, Chris wants some insurance. His World Series ticket is equivalent to a $10,000 price of admission, and he intends to sell off some of that equity. His father offers him $2,000 in cash for a 20% stake, but Chris is not exactly sold yet. Before going through with it, he needs a little more investment from a friend who was willing to take a gamble. His name
is that so
Dave
Decide?
Gamble.
Wait, what? No, hold on. Wait a minute. Who?
Before going through with it, he needs a little more investment from a friend who was willing to take a gamble. His name is Dave Gamble.
You can't make this shit up. He even kind of, I mean, I know it's just the illustration, but like, you know, he kind of like maybe, you know, he's never worn backwards caps, I don't think. But I mean, look at the beard, look at the expression.
Gamble. His name is Dave Gamble.
Let's go
I'm
gambling!
not making any of this up. It all sounds absurd, I know, but it's not as unusual as you may think. Another interesting quirk of probability is that eventually, strange coincidences are bound to happen. On very rare occasions, order emerges from chaos, and one spring day in 2003, a man named Moneymaker and a man named Gamble walked into a casino. Do you think they were feeling lucky?
Well, sponsor segment. We can't skip. I'm too nice.
You don't have to gamble to take home more money. When it comes to personal finance, you can finally get an edge with today's sponsor, Rocket Money. If I had to bet on anything, I'd say there's a pretty good chance most of you are wasting money on old and unwanted subscriptions. Dealing with these things is enough to put anyone on tilt, so skip the hassle with the Rocket Money app. Just log in and cancel any recurring charges in a couple of taps. You don't need to be an accountant to get your budget in order. Rocket Money helps you meet your financial...
Yeah, I feel like if you're in need of an ad like this to get like your budgeting in order, you probably subscribe to way too much shit.
...goals with automated spending limits and savings plans. They will even negotiate bills for you on your behalf. At last, you can become the moneymaker you were always meant to be. Rocket Money is all in on your financial future, so stop folding to wasteful expenses. Don't flush away your fortunes any longer and head straight to the link in the description below. Visit rocketmoney.com/mplemon to get started for free, and before long, you can finally save enough for that trip to Vegas.
Speaking of
A
Vegas,
poker tournament will inevitably guide the player to one of two outcomes. You either end up with no chips or all of the chips. The 2003 main event featured a record-setting field of 839 competitors, each beginning with a chip stack of 10,000. In the next 5 days,
see if we
there
can make
will
that
be
gun
just
drop
one
tower.
player left standing.
It'll be an
holding on
observation
to
tower,
the
though,
entire
so
supply of 8.39 million.
Won't
The
be the
reward
exact
for this monumental
specification.
task is a payday of $2.5 million. So, if you want to become the champion, you gotta start taking people's chips. A job that's easier said than done. In poker, you lose chips just by sitting at the table. The system of blinds and antes puts each player on a timer. If you just sit around waiting, your stack will gradually bleed out into nothing. The only way to increase your chip count is to start winning hands, which cannot be done without putting your own chips at risk. Eventually, the design of the game forces you into making aggressive decisions in order to make progress.
Are we getting felted?
The only
Not yet.
problem is that it's hard to be aggressive when you're going face to face with the best in the world. Unlike other prestigious competitions, the WSOP main event is peculiar
Let's get this
in being open to the
jungly kind of
public.
green to go
It
with the
doesn't
theme.
matter if you just learned how to play on the cab ride over. As long as you pay the price of admission, you have a seat at the table with the masters of the game. It's the equivalent of driving your car onto the grid of the Indy 500. But make no mistake about it, poker's elite are more than happy to welcome a bunch of amateurs to the party. To them, it's like letting in more minnows to the Shark Tank. As Chris Moneymaker arrived at his table on day one of competition, he's certainly feeling like fresh meat. His goal at this point is to simply survive until day 2. Just an hour into the game, he's already encountered his first roadblock, a player by the name of Jim Worth, better known by his screen name Crazy Canuck. Chris immediately recognizes him as a
This is ridiculous. I thought that was his screen name. No, his actual surname is Worth.
Powerful foe from his online games.
Worth,
It's
gamble,
not
and
long before the
moneymaker,
Crazy
baby.
Canuck sees Chris as an easy target. He starts playing Chris more aggressively and taking his chips. Eventually, Chris realizes that he won't survive for long as the weak link, so he starts fighting back. After flexing some muscle with a few big bets, he gets his rival to back off, taking some pots in the process. By the end of the afternoon, he's actually up a few thousand chips and feeling pretty good about himself. Players are busting out of the tournament already and he's sitting on a decent cushion. After studying the other players at the table, he likes his chances. He's got everyone else mostly figured out.
Okay, that's the
except for
gut
one
drop
fellow,
tower.
an older gentleman in a green polo. Chris doesn't recognize him until he looks over at the side of the venue and sees his picture on the wall. All this time, Chris had been playing alongside the 1995 champion Dan Harrington, and he didn't even know it. The realization was a stark reminder that he was still very much out of his depth, and that in this tournament, threats are lurking around every corner. But after this moment, something interesting happens. Chris gets moved to a different table and starts running hot. He picks up
Nice
several
use of,
strong
melee
hands,
music
makes
here.
a few good calls, and all of a sudden finds himself behind a stack of 60,000 chips. In fact, he wraps up day 1 in 11th place overall. He's in such good shape that he can actually sleep well that night. Unfortunately, he ends up sleeping a little too well.
Oh, did you oversleep,
The next
bud?
morning, Chris wakes up to a horrifying sight. He has overslept the beginning of day 2. While frantically rushing to the casino floor, he assumes that he's just been disqualified, throwing away the single biggest opportunity of his life. When he gets down to the tables, people wonder what he's so worked up about. He then notices his stack of chips waiting for him at an open seat. Turns out all that panic was just another rookie mistake. Chris eventually settles back into the game and seems to pick back up where he left off. He's able to capitalize off his chip advantage and bully some weaker players off their hands, even knocking some opponents out of the tournament. After several hours, he's built his stack up to 180,000. However, this surge of momentum changes course when 2 new players arrive at the table. One of them is Phil Ivey, who is regarded today as possibly the greatest poker player in history. The other is Johnny Chan, who at this time is poker's biggest celebrity. The 2-time main event champion was iconic enough to show up in Hollywood movies, and was one of the only players that Chris immediately recognized. Just as soon as they appear, they start cleaning him out. No matter what he tries, Chris is simply no match for the pros. They're just too intimidating and too aggressive for him to get any sort of edge. By the end of the day, Ivy and Chan have drained his stack down to just over 100,000. The setback knocks him down to 26th place in the standings. Although he's losing ground on the leaders, Chris is still holding his own. By the end of day 2, there are just over 100 players left in the tournament. If he can hang on for one more day, then he's actually on pace to finish in the money. But surviving at this stage in the tournament is easier said than done. By now, the cream has risen to the top, and the pool of unskilled opponents
Johnny
has
Chan,
dried
where's
up.
Johnny Kun at?
No matter where he lands tomorrow, he's gonna be swimming
Where's
with
Johnny
the sharks.
Senpai? Johnny-san?
Day 3 of the tournament begins with another complication for Chris. He manages to wake up on time, but now he's having trouble finding his table. After searching for a while, he has to stop and ask one of the organizers, who points all the way down to the end of the venue, past a crowd of spectators and into the center of a bunch of lights and cameras. Chris had been assigned to the TV table.
One more man I have to mention before we get underway at our featured table. His name is Chris Moneymaker.
As if the
he's
situation
real.
couldn't get any more nerve-wracking, his seat is sandwiched between a murderer's row of poker pros. Joining him at the table are Paul Darden, Howard Lederer, and a familiar foe in Johnny Chan. When the action begins, Chris is too afraid to play a hand. He's almost mesmerized watching the clash of poker titans in front of him. He remarks at how effortlessly they toss their chips into the pot, as if the huge amounts of money they're throwing around are of no concern to them. These are the true high rollers of the game, playing next to an average Joe who's never taken home more than 40 grand in a year. Chris figures that he might as well use this opportunity to study the masters. He tries to get in their head and understand how they think. After several hands of staring down the pros, he notices a couple of them are staring back. He imagines it's some kind of mind game, a spontaneous test of will to see if he's truly worthy of being in their presence. This sublime moment is eventually broken when Johnny Chan speaks up to remind Chris that it's his turn. When he realizes what happened, he just about turns red. Chris got so caught up in his own head that he forgot to fold his cards. His most humiliating blunder of the tournament, and it was all caught on camera.
Yeah, this has been sitting in the to watch playlist for a minute.
As the biggest fish at the table. His only saving grace is that the broadcast is on tape delay, and that the debacle may not end up airing. Johnny Chan tries to reassure him that a gaffe like that will never see the light of day. Unless, of course, he wins. At this moment, something changed within Chris Moneymaker. While many others would have crumbled
that was his
under the
moment of zen.
embarrassment,
He had a
Chris
revelation.
ended up responding to the situation in an unexpected way. He feels oddly relaxed, like he has nothing left to fear.
He's in the
He starts to
zone.
realize that his lack of experience offers him a unique advantage. He may be a no-name player, but that also makes him an X-factor. After spending the whole tournament in their shadow, he begins to turn the tables on the pros. A few hands later, Chris goes head-to-head with Howard Lederer. He gets dealt a pair of aces, the strongest opening hand in the game, and recognizes that now is the time to strike. After a few rounds of betting, Moneymaker shoves all in. Lederer has him covered in chips, meaning that if Chris loses, he's out of the tournament. Lederer thinks for a while and ultimately decides to fold, allowing Chris to collect a nice pot. It started to look like the momentum was back on Chris's side, a trend that became apparent after his showdown with Johnny Chan. Ever since the stare down, Chan had been struggling, and his situation was starting to get desperate. Just before the dinner break, Moneymaker gets dealt an ace-8 of hearts and decides he wants to tangle with the master. By now, the other players have exited the table, leaving only the challenger and the champion. The flop comes with 2 hearts and an ace, putting Moneymaker in great shape. After Chan raises him, he decides to shove all in. Chan makes the call, putting his tournament life at risk. He turns over the King 5 of hearts. Moneymaker jumps out of his seat. He has Chan dominated, with 87% odds to win the hand. Just one other card is all it takes to seal the deal. Chris Moneymaker had just busted the most famous player in the tournament.
I sat with the best in the world, and I won.
All of a sudden, this unsuspecting accountant from Tennessee had stumbled into the script of a Hollywood movie. Through all the commotion, he secured
What
a
game
spot
should you
in
play
the
from the
top
Switch Online
45,
catalog? Need
good enough
suggestions?
for a
What
payout
console?
of at least $25,000. However, for the first time in the tournament, Chris starts to set his sights on something greater. By the end of day 3, he's sitting on 357,000 chips.
Try Mario
good
Kart
enough
64 for the first
place
time.
overall. If he can maintain his position for one more day of action, he's on pace to make the final table, where the prize money gets truly life-changing. By day 4 of the main event, the demeanor of the room is noticeably different. The pleasantries of small talk and friendly banter have been replaced with an air of tension and unease. At this point, the players can no longer ignore.
Wait, guys, we won! Ladies and gentlemen! To achieve a park value of at least 100,000 at the end of October year 2, you've achieved your objective with a company value of $117,000! Yes! Big ups me, and big ups Chrono. Never played Banjo? Start with Banjo-Kazooie then. It's pretty good. Some people like it better than Super Mario 64. I would say Banjo-Kazooie's got like better levels and set pieces, but Mario 64 is more nostalgic and it's got way better movement. We'll have Mark Dingle as the winner here. Wow, it's already August 26th, year 2. So I met the I met the park objective with 2 months to spare. Big ups. Okay, I'm gonna listen in on my phone to the video. I'm gonna run and get a refill here. We got 12 minutes to the Nintendo Direct.
Or what's at stake. From here on out, there's no more friends, no more patience, and no more room for error. In the next 48 hours, a champion will be crowned, and everyone has their eyes on the prize. After knocking out Johnny Chan, Chris Moneymaker is now on everybody's radar, and the pros are eager to prove that his hot streak is nothing more than a lucky break. His first challenge comes from Umberto Brenes, otherwise known as the Shark. After a couple of big bets, Brenes lures Chris into shoving all in with just a pair of 8s. When Chris sees him turn over aces, he knows he's in trouble. Brenes has him almost dead to rights, with a 92% chance of taking the pot. However, Moneymaker's luck hasn't run out yet.
There comes a turn, and it's an 8 of clubs. The last card is no help to Brenes, and he has been eliminated.
Remarkably, Moneymaker gets bailed out by an unlikely set of 8s that sends the Shark packing. This moment is a huge wake-up call for Chris, who understands that he just dodged a bullet. The spectacle certainly hasn't helped him shake the perception of a lucky amateur, but as the day goes on, he actually begins to prove his worth. Howard Lederer is the next pro to go after Chris, confronting him with another all-in bet. This time, Chris makes the right call and lays down his cards. After that, he gets involved with the 1998 champion Scotty Nguyen. Chris immediately
actually wasn't a very long walk-away segment. Hello, Cam.
After stealing a
and
pot
thank you,
from one
Eddie
of the
B,
best in
43
the
to
world,
15 string streak.
Moneymaker decides to take things a
the
bit
game
further.
back on a big screen.
Facing off against French millionaire
you were
Chuck
promised
Long,
goated overlays.
he
I
pulls
hope you're
off
not
another
disappointed.
bluff, and this time shows his cards to
let's
the
do
table.
a
His
suspended
rivals
coaster.
are shocked to see that Chris had been holding absolute junk. For the first time, the other players are finally starting to see him as a credible threat. Halfway through the action, Chris is down to the final 22 and remains in 6th place on the leaderboard. The final
Let's have
table
this be
is
like a
looking
scenic
more and more
overlook
likely,
of
but
the
he still has plenty of foes standing in his
lava
way.
lake here.
Chris's next showdown would come against Dutch Boyd, another young gun who'd spent most of the afternoon with the chip lead. As the story goes, he had grown up as some kind of boy genius, earning his master's in law at just the age of 18. As fate would have it, he would end up using his profound intellect to play cards for a living. He spent the whole tournament outsmarting the competition, until he ends up face to face with Chris Moneymaker. Chris jumps in the action with a pair of 3s. The flop is a bunch of low cards, which improve his odds a bit, so he bets. Dutch stares him down for a while, and then raises all in. Chris is now slated with his toughest decision of the tournament. If he makes the call and he's wrong, it's game over. A pair of 3s is far from the best hand. There are many other combinations of cards that outright beat it here. Chris thinks for a long time. He considers all the different angles and possibilities, but at the end of it all, he just doesn't buy the story. Moneymaker calls and Dutch is beside himself. He's been caught out on a stone-cold bluff. The next two cards are no help for him, and Chris doubles up to 1.2 million chips. Dutch asks him if he exploited some kind of hidden tell. He doesn't believe that a player like him could have possibly made such a read. Chris simply responds that he had a gut feeling. Oftentimes in poker, instincts matter more
Just felt like
than
you were
intellect.
bullshitting me, bro.
Moments later, Dutch Boyd is knocked out of the tournament in 12th place, and before long, Chris has survived into the top 10, one spot away from the final table. This is where the competition reaches a bottleneck. For the pros, making the final table is a point of pride, and no one wants to be the odd man out. The game slows
Trust
to a
the gut,
crawl as
baby.
every player
Or like
tightens
trust
up.
the gun.
The stalemate extends well past midnight. Chris has now been playing poker for over 13 hours straight. Under the mounting exhaustion, he's trying his best to weather the storm, until he sees an opportunity. Starting with ace-queen, Chris hits a set on the flop. After an unsuspecting 9 on the turn, he likes his chances and bets big. He would have felt even better if he wasn't challenging Phil Ivey, the most dangerous player left in the field. Immediately, he proves why that's the case and raises all in. Chris makes the call, and to his horror, Ivy turns over a pair of 9s.
Ivy,
With a pair
no!
of queens already on the
Speaking of
board,
Ivy, she might be
it's
winning on the
good
female
for a
side in
full
10
house,
minutes.
blowing Chris's hand away.
Might be a little bit late because
His
this video is
odds
going
of
to run
winning
over.
have plummeted to just
It's fine.
17%. Ivy did everything right and provided
everything
another
correct.
reminder of why many
Nothing
consider
wrong.
him to be the best to ever play. In the future, he'll go on to win dozens of tournaments, but as fate would have it, this was not one of them.
In the tournament.
The river card is an ace, giving Moneymaker a superior full house. Ivy is out of the tournament in 10th place, and Chris has advanced to the final table as the overall chip leader. An amateur player who just a month ago was stressing out over $8,000 is now in prime position to take home $2.5 million. Thus far, it's been a great story.
Big up Flippy 4-man, a 10 stream streak. We're going to find out in 10 minutes.
This has to
You're
be
just
the
in time
part
for the
where we
results.
step out of Neverland. He's made some great plays, toppled some of the best in the game, and even seems to have luck on his side. But at some point, Chris's inexperience is gonna come back to bite him, and he's gonna get beat. His best course of action now should be to coast off his lead, enjoy the ride, and wait for the inevitable. However, the man named Moneymaker has other plans. The law of large numbers states that after enough trials, everything eventually regresses to the mean. 4 days ago, Chris had never set foot in a real-life poker tournament, and now finds himself leading the most important event of the year. He's about as big of a statistical outlier as they come, and all this time, everyone has been waiting for the other shoe to drop on the online fish. But for as long as the pros have believed this, Chris has continued to pick them off one by one. He starts the final day
that's
of
pretty
competition by
wacky
knocking
coast
out
design
David Gray.
part of yours
A
truly
while
here,
later,
but
he takes
good
out
enough.
Tomer Benvenesti, followed by Jason Lester, bringing Moneymaker into the top 3. The next one to fall is Dan Harrington, the original Spectre who haunted him all the way back at his very first table. And with that, Chris Moneymaker had only one player left to beat. His final opponent is Sam Farha, who resembles the dictionary definition of a poker professional: cunning, unflappable, and visibly richer than you. Chris has come face to face.
His face is
with his
familiar, but I
complete
can't quite
antithesis,
place it.
A seasoned veteran who's finally gonna put the scrappy underdog in his place. There's a break in the action before the final showdown as the tournament organizers remind everyone what they're fighting for. They wheel out $2.5 million in cold hard cash and dump it on the table. Few people in history have ever been in the presence of that much physical money. It's enough dough that Chris can literally smell it. The moment snaps him back to reality.
Tidiest park in the
He's been
country.
so dialed
Big
into
ups.
the game that he forgot what was at stake.
Everyone loves
and for the
Grugland.
first time in a
Unga
while,
bunga.
Chris thinks about playing it safe. During the break, he runs into Sam Farha in the restroom and tries to cut a deal. He wants to split the first and second place purse 50-50 and just play for the trophy. Since Chris has about a 2-to-1 chip advantage, he considers it a generous offer. Farha, however, disagrees. He doesn't see Chris as an equal opponent and wants a greater share of the winnings. For as far as he's come, the others still don't think he deserves to be there. To truly earn their respect, Chris has to go out and prove himself once and for all. The championship battle rages back and forth. After 90 minutes of action, neither player has been able to get an edge. That all changes on the 27th hand of the showdown. As the cards are dealt, both players fire into the pot. Chris has King 7, and after the turn card has both a straight and a flush draw. Sensing an opportunity, he bets big. The river card comes, and it's a total brick. Chris misses on both of his draws and is hung out to dry with just King High. He thinks for a bit and then does the unthinkable. Moneymaker shoves all in with absolute junk. Farha has him beat with a pair of 9s. He has a golden opportunity to double up and put Chris in a nearly insurmountable deficit. All he has to do is make the call. Farha stares Chris down, scanning for any sort of inconsistency. Moneymaker has gone still as a statue. For the next minute, he doesn't move a muscle. After an excruciating wait, Farha lays down. Chris has just pulled off the bluff of the century. On the very next hand, he flops 2 pair and catches Sammy on a pair of jacks. Farha moves all in and Moneymaker calls. After 2 more cards, it's all over.
With a full house, Chris Moneymaker eliminates Sam Farha, and in a very swift and unlikely
Get fucked, Bish. What do you think about that?
When he finally looked over his domain, he wept, for there were no more worlds to conquer. The 2003 World Series of Poker main event belongs to Chris Moneymaker. He finishes out his run with a tournament-winning full house. In his first ever live event, he walks out of the casino a multi-millionaire. In the words of ESPN commentator Norman Chad,
"This is beyond fairy tale. It's inconceivable."
Amidst the celebration, poker vets Mike Matusow and Eric Seidel are discussing what just transpired. Matusow is distraught, believing that the air of legitimacy around poker pros had just been dismantled. If a guy like Moneymaker could come in and beat the best in the world, what would that say about the industry as a whole? Seidel, on the other hand, sees things more pragmatically. He suggests that they donate Chris 5% of their future earnings, because the world of poker was about to change forever. Several months later, the tournament would air on ESPN, marking the beginning of what came to be known as the Moneymaker effect. The program drew in record viewership for televised poker, prompting the network to re-air the special nearly a dozen times. It turned out that the American public found Chris's story to be quite inspirational. People became enamored by the idea of raking in millions by playing cards for a few days. Just 1 year later, the WSOP main event saw triple the entrants. The poker boom was underway, as everyone tried to become the next Chris Moneymaker. In the following decades, this influx of new players would end up earning the poker industry billions. However, the great irony with all
you're about
of
to find
this
out
is
the
that
results
for
in a
the party
second.
played in it,
It's
Chris
just in time for the
didn't actually
stream.
walk away with that much money. Remember that steak he sold
I'm a little
to his
bit. I'm
friends
gonna
and
be a little bit
family?
delayed by
Well,
like a
he
few
had to
minutes.
make good on
No
that
one spoil
promise.
it.
For his $2,000
I'm gonna
share,
put my faith
Mike
in you that
Moneymaker
people
went on
won't
to
do that.
pocket $500,000. And as for Dave's gamble, he turned his $2,500 wager into $625,000. That would have still left Chris with a nice chunk of change. But as it turned out, Mrs. Moneymaker got more than she bargained for when her husband started traveling the world to play poker for a living. The two would end up splitting, and
Divorce
most
coin
of the
up.
remaining
No, they
prize money
split!
would leave with her.
Damn, I was joking.
Chris may not have been left with much of a fortune, but he did have fame. The folks at PokerStars greatly appreciated the free promotion he'd given them and agreed to cover
Is
the
that a
cost
spoiler?
of any event
How
he
would
wanted to
Eddie
enter.
B know that?
Needless to say, this new career path was certainly a step up from accounting.
Eddie B don't
At the
even
end
know
of
where
it
to
all,
look.
Chris had found his
He's
true
just fucking
calling
around.
in life.
Vail didn't
And
have a
as
chance of
time
getting
went
first.
on, it became
get it
apparent
ready.
that his magical run may not have been such a fluke after all. Soon enough, he would prove himself as quite a natural at the game. And as of
Uh-oh, it is
2024,
here. It
he's
is
still
here.
winning tournaments. It's now been over 20 years since Chris Moneymaker changed poker forever. If you catch him at the right time, you can still see him trying his luck at the place where it all began. This year's main event featured more than 10,000 entrants competing for a grand prize.
Don't
of
everyone get
$10
cozy, we're about to
million.
watch it.
Today, the game is certainly different than the one Moneymaker came into. Many would agree that modern poker lacks much of the mystique and wonder that once made it so entertaining. The colorful cast of characters from the past has
let's
slowly
actually go
been
to the
phased
Fae
out by a
category.
new generation of players who prefer a more robotic and analytical approach to the game. With the rise of computers and poker engines, everyone now understands the statistically optimal way to play. After all this time, we're still trying to master the odds. But no matter how advanced your strategy is, no one really controls their destiny. Whenever you shuffle a deck of cards, there's an astronomically high chance that the combination you hold in your hands has never existed before in history. The universe is full of possibilities, a few of which will lead us towards strange and beautiful surprises, to things far more valuable than money. When you think about all the cards that had to fall exactly right for the story to turn out this way, it's hard to believe it really happened. Of course, there are those who will tell you that there's no such thing as chance. Events either happen or they don't. As far as we're concerned, the probability is either 0 or 100. The other numbers are just there to make our unknowable future feel a bit less murky. Life is a lot more unpredictable than we'd often like to admit, and sometimes it's incredible what can happen when you no longer fear the odds.
Pretty good video. The story of Chris Moneymaker there and his good friend Dave Gamble. And who was the other guy? John Werf? I don't know nothing about not no poker, not know how. But I do love a good underdog story. Been meaning to watch that one. Been sitting in a to-watch list forever. But you know what isn't sitting in the to-watch list forever? The thing that just hit my sub box. It's finally time. Ladies and gentlemen, get your prayer hands together. It is time for FEH Channel. The Nintendo Direct is here, February 1st, 2025. We're about to find out the popularity poll results for the poll that I begged everyone to vote in for the past week. So if you want to see me cheer or mauled Stephen Coat, get ready to tune in.
Flap,
8 years.
flap, flap,
8 years of this
flap,
fucking
flap,
game.
Flap, flap. Hey. Flap, 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 flap. Hello, summoners. Just look at
60
this
minutes.
massive cake. All right, I'll put aside my urge to gobble it all up. Instead, I, Faye, will deliver some exciting
Yeah, not
news to all
Pokemon,
you
Fire Emblem.
summoners.
That's just an owl.
So sit back, relax, and get
That's too
ready for the
generic to be
latest
a Pokemon.
information on the Fire Emblem Heroes game. It's time for
FEH Channel. I'm pretty sure they're just gonna get straight to the results.
First up,
Let's see. Get your screen caps ready. Who's gonna win?
the Choose Your
Uh-oh.
Legends
Round 9 results. Here it comes.
all for
We're gonna
voting.
lose.
Now
We're
hold
gonna
on to your
lose.
feathers. The winners are. Ta-da!
Oh my
Look at
god,
those
we got
marvelous
second
heroes.
place.
The special Choose Your Legends
Holy shit, we
versions
lost to
of these
Reddit
heroes
Deer
will
by
appear
1,000
this
votes.
summer.
Oh, we still win though.
I, for one, can't wait to see their new outfits.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So, where do I even begin? Okay, I need some backing music so I can do some preliminary analysis. Don't. We need it first or second. Don't get your no emotes. We would only be seething if he was below the second place. We still win. He's still gonna get a reward. It didn't have to be first place. Second place still wins. Now, I'm quite bemused. Everyone thought he was locked in for first place. For the female side, because we had the top 5 results revealed yesterday, and I briefly went over them, and I said I felt like Sharena was gonna be a lock, I think, and that Ivy was gonna be a lock. What is surprising is that once again, for another year, Engage has been denied. Engage has been denied a slot. And wow, they took it with, you can see that the player base is kind of dwindling. Kind of like diminishing returns here. They won, the women won with only 11,000 votes. Yeah, no more, no doubt, vote tabbering from the Reddit nerds. Oh, to be true, to be true. I think our rallying overall, did matter, maybe? Because I don't know what third place got. I guess I'll check the official awards and see if it mattered or not. Yeah, give me 1 second here. Alright, I'm back from calling the suicide hotline. No, I just had to step away for a second. Okay, what was I saying? The top frontrunner was predicted to be Ivy. We had the top 5 revealed yesterday, per games, and I know I just said that, but it was looking like Sharena's vote turnout was going to be like underperformed due to a variety of factors. Most importantly, that the deer guy, who is an OC if you're wondering, the deer guy beat Sharena in the turnout. So Alphonse, the main character, won the previous year, so it was assumed that Alphonse's voters were going to shift to Sharena. And last night, it was looking like that wasn't going to be the case because she was now second in the overall votes per game, whereas the deer guy was first. This will make sense if I pull it up. What's surprising is that Baldur was literally just introduced. She's not going to be summonable for like 6 months at least. I think it's like a desperate attempt to replicate the Golveeg effect. We're going to trade war, no more Florida orange juice for me? No! Rip orange juice. Do I still have this image? Let me see. I do. Why did I delete this? Why did I send it to the recycle box here? Big up Scoon. See if I can get this on screen for some comparisons here. Because I did take a look at this yesterday. Okay, I got it. It's gonna be a bit gigantic though, so please bear with me. Okay, so I looked at this yesterday. This was the top 5 per game. Now, the reason people got worried about Sharena is because people were assuming the Alphonse voters were going to go to Sharena. But as you can see, Deerman was listed as first for his game. So people assumed that this meant that Sharena had less support than anticipated. Because, I guess they just assumed there would be a huge rallying and surging so that she would be in first place and Deerman would be second. And because of this, so check this out. So because of the turnout with the top 5 here, people thought Baldur had already dropped out. There was no way Baldur was going to make it, and all eyes were on Engage. So up till literally right now, the predictions were Sharena and Ivy as going to be the top 2. Whereas for males, it was going to be Byleth and Deerman. For the secondary female, people were not looking at Baldur, but they were looking at Yunaka, as well as where is he? Azura here. So to have that reflected compared to the final results here is quite surprising. There were big Reddit surges and the like Twitter surges, blue sky surges for Eektanir. I think that's how you pronounce it. People just call him Eek. There were big surges for the Deer Bro. And Byleth has like a strong Japanese fan base. He always has. But after they got snubbed by Alphonse last year, they were coming back in droves. We also took a look at the Twitter predictions. Not predictions. You can share your vote after you vote through Twitter. And Japanese voters are more likely to do that than American voters. Or Western voters, rather, because it's like, oh yeah, international, so it's not just America. But like, it's just more of a Japanese thing for people to do that, to share who they voted for. So Byleth had at least minimum 700 votes, and he had the highest amount of tweet shares, way higher than Eektanir, which just overwhelmingly tells me that Eektanir was absolutely a Western favored choice. He was not really tweeted out by Japanese players. Now, the reason why he is a Reddit meme OC is that these people feel that male original characters, particularly of the Bara disposition, are visually underrepresented in the game's cast of playable, summonable characters. So they rallied around him despite the fact that he only has dialogue in 3 chapters out of the entire game. So he had a historic surging here out of like sheer desperation and trying to replicate the Golvig effect, where 2 years ago Golvig just won out of the blue. No one had predicted that she was gonna rank as high as she did, and then she did. Big ups Iced Coffee. Did Byleth get in? Byleth did get in. He is not first place. It was assumed he would have first place by like a milestone. Not a milestone, by like a country mile. But he actually ended up getting second. But second does still get you a reward. He did still win, and he will not be eligible for voting next year. So next year, we'll probably rally for a 0. Now, as for Baldur, as I just said, so just compare the images. Like this is very surprising for Engage's performance. Look at this. Ivy, first place. Ivy, second place. Yunaka. So just from Engage's ranking, we knew that Alir was going to be knocked out. No female Alir this year. But compared to Heroes OC's top 5, Baldur, third place. People thought this meant Baldur had no chance and like to stop hoping for her. So people were looking at Ivy and Yunaka, but you know, final results does not reflect that. At least Baldur somehow swoosed on in. And if it wasn't for, I assume, some of those Alphonse voters moving to Sharena, Baldur probably would have been first, which is wild because Baldur has as much chapters of dialogue and relevancy right now as Eektanir. She only has like 3 or 4 chapters of dialogue. But obviously, she's meant to be like a main OC of the chapter, so she will get more dialogue as the current arc proceeds. It's just wild to see. I feel like going in, people kind of accepted. People like accepted, because I was looking at some discussion, because of course I did. It seems like people accepted that Byleth was going to be in, Eektanir was going to be in, unfortunately. Sharena was going to be in. So really the only surprise here is Baldur. And I think I gotta blame we gotta thank Baldur's voice actress. Baldur's voice actress did go on Twitter. I was informed about this. Baldur's voice actress went on Twitter and begged for votes, just like I begged for Byleth votes. But it makes sense for her because she's the voice actress. So she shilled herself, said that she was good friends with Golvig's voice actress, and they cut like a little promo together, I believe, where they were both voice acting in character. So I'm assuming that's where the lion's share of the votes came from, on top of like the Golvig effect, where people feel like OC's gotta win now every year, especially as we run out of realistic like main character wins. Like, so all the characters you would have expected, like you're saying, like where's Ike, where's Lynn, where's Elliewood, where's Marv? These guys have already won in prior years. That's why they're not at the top of the list here, because they've already won. You can't vote for them anymore. So as over time, as the game gets older, as we progress further, you get diminishing returns when it comes to candidates from other games. Like it gets to a point where now we're voting for like side characters like Bernadetta and Marianne to win top spot. The fucking Gatekeeper won one year. So I think it's natural, especially as newer players get into the game, that they go towards the OCs and start voting OCs to win. So I understand it, but like I'm fine with Sharena winning because she's like the main female character. She should have won by now, honestly. But it's like I feel like the picks for Baldur and Ikdanir, well, I can understand and even justify them internally in my head, back of my head, back of my neck, back of my mind. I do feel like it's a case of, you know, it's the current white hat popular thing. It's that FOMO effect. People feel like if they can't get them to win now, when their arc is the most recent, then they will never win, and it'll be harder to get them to win in future arcs when future, more like even newer OCs are available to vote for. It's cringe, it was not organic. For Ikdanir, it was really not organic. I can understand why people would feel like they had to rally for him because they felt like this was his only year. For Baldur, you could make a case for Coomers just going for the newest gacha wife. It's hard to accept, but that's the reality here. Yeah, Jesse, we got second place. We still win. You still get the reward. So he won't be votable next year. We'll have to shill a different character, which I think is going to be a 0.
Versions of these heroes. The winners are... Ta-da! Look at those marvelous heroes!
I gotta see discussion for this later.
Choose Your Legends versions of these heroes.
The Jesse female Byleth won pretty easily on the 6th popularity poll without anyone's help.
Will appear this summer.
That means August. And that's it. That's really the only part that you guys needed to know about. Everything else is just information about the game.
I, for one, can't wait to see their new outfits. And next...
Whatever, let's watch the rest of it.
Some more exciting news! On February 2nd, get ready to celebrate the 8th anniversary of Fire Emblem Heroes!
Wow!
Allow me to introduce some of the celebratory events. First up, Hero Fest! In this Hero Fest, a tuned hero Ivy will appear in the blue category.
Ooh, they probably really thought Ivy was gonna win. Oh, that's tough. I am still kind of shocked that she's not 2 years in a row now. An engaged character does not have the top spot.
Rearmed hero Lu.
I mean, this does give her like really high chances next year for like people that feel bad for her, like pity. Oh, she deserves it. She deserves it. So if we don't have a new game by next year, which is, I don't know, pretty unlikely. Honestly, if you ask me. I feel like we would at least have an announcement of a new game by next year. I think the rallying would be around Sigurd and Ivy.
Lucina in the green category.
But Lucina won year 1.
Loki in the colorless category.
Loki had no chance.
Wait for it. Emblem hero Marth in the red category.
Marth won year 5.
This marks the first appearance of an emblem hero in a Hero Fest.
Whoa!
I don't want to miss this opportunity to add heroes with unique skills as my allies. Next, a guaranteed 5-star...
Mr. Dingus, how come there are gender swap characters that exist in the same universe like Robin? Because avatars, they're your avatar characters, you can choose whatever gender you want to be. It's like Pokemon or Animal Crossing. Why do they exist simultaneously in this mobile game? Because this mobile game is all about different universes and whatever, colliding. It's your typical multiverse bullshit.
Special hero summoning event and special maps. During this event, you can get one of these 5-star special heroes as an ally guaranteed.
Wow, look at all those characters.
What color do I want this year? Decisions. Keep watch for the special maps themed around these heroes. If you can clear all the maps on normal difficulty, you can get a total of 13
How long have I been playing this game? How long has Dave been playing Champions?
To get a total of 13 summon tickets. You can use these summon tickets to get guaranteed special heroes in a celebratory summoning event featuring heroes from the 4-star Special Hero Special Rate category. This year, these summon tickets can add 5-star special heroes who appeared in version 6.1.
This is where all your subs go to. No, just kidding. Not all your subs.
There will be not 1, not 2, but 3 new summoning events called 12 Luminaries. Plus
Dragon Quest?
Celebratory gifts. 36 special heroes who appeared between January
Toshi.
and September of last year will be...
Toshi, mate. Sensei! Bereto-sama!
The top 8 heroes from the online vote will appear in an in-game.
Oh wait, I skipped. I went too far.
Watch for the special maps themed around these heroes. If you can clear all the maps on normal difficulty, you can get a total of 13 orbs. And clear them on hard to get a total of 13 summon tickets. You can use these summon tickets to get guaranteed special heroes in a celebratory summoning event featuring heroes from the 4-star Special Hero Special Rate category.
Say that 5 times fast.
These summon tickets can add 5-star special heroes who appeared in version 6.1 and earlier to your allies. And that's not all.
Big ups King Triple D
There will
Ook.
be not 1, not 2, but 3 new summoning events called 12 Luminaries, plus celebratory gifts. 36
It ain't a
special
5-star
heroes who
Violet,
appeared
but I don't
between
want it.
January and September of last year will be split into 3 groups for these fantastic events. Oh, aren't you excited to see who appears? I know I am. During these summoning events, the 5-star appearance rate will be set to 8%.
Oh, 8%. Oh my god.
But there's more. During each of the 12 Luminaries events, you can receive 5 first summon tickets as login bonuses. It'll be best to keep an eagle
Only
eye on
5? They
these
should
to
give us
not
8
miss
for the
out.
8th anniversary.
Next up, A Hero Rises 2025. This event
Thank you,
makes
Sparkles,
its
for the
grand
follow.
return to the stage for a new year. Once again, you'll get to choose your favorite hero who has appeared in the Fire Emblem Heroes game. The voting is already underway, so cast yours now! The top 8 heroes from the online vote will appear in an in-game voting gauntlet. And the victorious hero in the gauntlet will be gifted to all Fire Emblem Heroes players after the event ends.
Now, if you thought the poll nonsense was over, now they gotta do this stuff. I'm not gonna show this though, but people also fight over this.
Faye, how exciting! Chief, we're rolling here. Oh, breaking news!
What?
I've just received word that this year, all of the top 8 heroes from the A Hero Rises 2025 event will be featured in a summoning event. I sure feel chirpy now.
No, you don't have to vote in this one.
This summoning event will be called Double A Hero Rises Top 8. Only focus heroes will appear at 5-star rarity, and the 5-star appearance rate will be set to 6%. During this summoning event, everyone can summon one of the focus heroes of their choice for free after each interval of summoning 40, 80, 120, and 160 times. Up next, celebratory login bonuses, quests, and Aether Raids quests. Log in and clear quests for 10 days during the active period.
Okay, usually they're a bit chintzy with the orbs, but look at that, 16 orbs.
For the opportunity to receive the items you see here. I see a Forma Soul! Oh, and summon tickets. You can use those in the 4-star Special Hero Special Rate Summoning event I mentioned. The 8th anniversary royal cake sure looks delicious.
I bet Champions didn't have long ads like this. How does Phil feel about that? It's not an ad! Well, it is an ad. It's more like a direct.
Faye? Yes, Chief? We have even more breaking news! This year, an Otherworld Bond is also up for grabs!
Oh, you can't get those items unless you pay pig for them. I haven't had any of those because there's no way for free-to-play players to get them.
Log in for 10 days during the active period to receive rewards, including an Otherworld Bond on the 10th day you log in. You definitely don't want to miss this.
Is this Soda's talking or a different character played by the same VA? It's a different character played by the same VA. She used to have a different voice actress, but then something happened with the recording studio. They'd like to have to change studios or something. So she got recasted by Soda's VA. Not even trying to do a different voice.
Binding Worlds will be held to commemorate the game's 8th anniversary. Plus, on top of the usual rewards, you'll be able to earn these. And during this event, you can make 2 heroes your allies. The active period is quite long. So you may run into many more heroes from other worlds. Here are the rewards you can earn for these events. Oh, wow! That's a lot of 8s! Oh, I'm so excited! Okay, that's everything for the 8th anniversary events.
How exciting. Show me a banner!
Hey, that was a lot of great news, wasn't it? Now then,
it could have been worse.
Heroes from the Fire
Oh my
Emblem
god,
3
even
houses
more
game
Fire
here.
Emblem 3 houses. What have I
Introducing
done?
those who have come to celebrate the Day of Devotion. I wonder who they're thinking about.
Oh, we got Hubert.
I am not sure why you have invited me to partake in a festival such as this.
The hell is he wearing?
It's Hubert! The black attire with that giant feather on his hat really
Look at
suits
that giant
him.
bottle.
Oh, and he's got flowers and a tray of glasses. I wonder who that's for.
Oh my god.
A monarch must respect not only their crown,
Adel Bros! Adel Bros!
but those around them.
Edelgard! Look at that gorgeous dress! And that axe! My heart flutters just looking at it. If I peek through her calm expression, I can tell just how much she's enjoying the
Alright guys, we're gonna do a subathon tomorrow.
Day of Devotion.
I thought I was done concerning myself with choosing gifts.
Will's gonna orgasm from this one.
Dimitri! That mantle is absolutely majestic. Like a blue lion. He's so serious. It's no surprise he's having a difficult time deciding what to offer during these festivities.
I'm always humble and thankful
Claude
for
was the
those
first
around
one I
me.
recognized from the
Really?
silhouette. It's the hair, dude.
It's Claude! Would you look at those vibrant colors of his sash? They're perfect for him. I'll be hooting him on as he expresses his gratitude to everyone. Looks
Who's
like
the freebie?
everyone's having a delightful time. Oh, is that?
I guess they don't have Rhea voiced in English right now. Oh my god. Hey, it's Phil's wife!
Last but certainly not least, it's Rhea and Sothis. This duo might never have had
This
the
is kind of unfortunate because people had predictions for a Fodland Valentine's Day, and the predictions often included like Geralt or Citri.
chance to meet in Fodland. But things are different in Asker, isn't that right? They're able to celebrate the Day of Devotion festivities together. That's Edelgard, Dimitri, Claude, and duo hero Rhea. They will be featured in the special hero summoning event, Seeking and Finding. And if you build up your points in Tempest Trials Plus,
Oh, okay. Hubert's the freebie.
Hubert will join your barracks too. Seeing people express their gratitude to others on the Day of Devotion makes me feel as fuzzy on the inside as I feel on the outside. Oh, let's move on before I drift off to Dreamland. It's time for some info on the next version update. I'll tell you all about some of the content you can look forward to in February.
Wow, that's 5 days away.
First up,
Actually 4.
Hall of Forms.
Oh, fuck this mode.
Starting with the next Hall of Forms, when you clear the highest level, you'll be able to choose from 3 skills of each type instead of 2. Just think of all the opportunities you'll have to learn the skills of your dreams. Next, Arena! After the next update, you will be able to use tactical retreats 3 times instead of 2
Thank
in
God.
Arena and
Anytime you see the Snake Lady character, Nidhogger, you always gotta like fucking surrender as soon as you see her because she is undefeatable.
Arena Assault.
Unless you have her, like unless you send in your own.
Here I come.
Your own, you're gonna get felted.
Also, new maps will be added. Oh, Faye! I can't wait! It also looks like there will be some changes to how summoning works. The These 39 special heroes who appeared between versions 5.2 and 6.1 will join the 4-star special heroes
Did she just drop an Oy vey? No, she said, Faye, 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 Faye.
This rate will be active even in the summoning events where these heroes originally appeared. I'd also like to introduce some heroes who will make their first appearance in Summoning Focus Revivals. These heroes will appear in the 4-star special rate.
Oh, see that female Byleth on the bottom right there? That female Byleth with the wing icon? That's female Byleth's version that she won as a result of the popularity poll.
Category instead of the 5-star heroes category in other summoning events. In addition, these heroes will appear in legendary and mythic
Attune
hero
Micaiah
remixes
destroys the
from
snake lady?
here
I don't
on
think I
out.
have her.
I know.
Is it really okay?
Wait. Female Shez spotted? Shez-sama?
I know.
Is it really okay to have so many heroes added to the remix events?
Faye, no need to worry, Chief. Starting with the next update, there will be legendary
Hey, Golem.
revival events. And
Golem,
just
we
like
won.
standard revival
Golem, we
events,
won.
3
We won,
heroes
Golem.
will appear as
We
5-star
win.
focus heroes
We win.
with an initial appearance
Yes.
rate of 4%. This is a huge opportunity to make those eye-catching legendary heroes your allies.
The second place unit always
Remember,
sucks because the first
the
place is
focus
always broken.
heroes
Don't
will-
say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. we lost first by 1,000 votes. We're gonna still be broken, guys. I promise. I mean, technically, if we refer to last year's units, Felix was absurdly broken, but Alphonse was usable too. Bernie was first. Bernie was broken, but not too many people use her in comparison to like Felix, who completely destroys the single player content. Robin, female Robin, she's got that like ice crystal tactical setup where like crystals appear anytime she does an attack. I feel like I see her do a lesser extent than even Bernadetta.
Change every month.
Yeah, we won, but at what cost?
Will be able to summon a 5-star focus hero of their choice for free after summoning 40 times during these events. And here
Useful
are
broken,
the
but sounds like Coke to me. I still
legendary
see
heroes who
Alphonse in
will
Arena,
appear.
so I don't know what to tell you.
Note that these heroes will
Boot
no
up the
longer
game, bud.
appear in legendary and mythic hero remix events. The focus heroes for February are Ike, Robin, and Lucina. How exciting! Faye! That's all for today. Thanks to all of you, the Fire Emblem Heroes
surrounded
game
by
has
gadget
reached
players,
its
yeah.
8th anniversary.
Have you
And I will
motherfuckers
be
played
sharing more
Nikkei and you're
exciting
clowning on me
news
for
in the
playing this
future
game?
with all you summoners.
Stop.
We've also received some exciting illustrations
Oh, fan art, the
commemorating
fan art
the
segment.
game's 8th anniversary.
Well, not really fan art, official art.
Thank you to all the artists for this exquisite art. Well, that's my cue. Enjoy these beauties as I take my leave. Flap, 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 flap.
Oh my god, it's Almond Celica! Some genealogy characters. I recognize Ira and Ishtar. I think the middle was Eldigan. It's a Reinhardt guy. And Hector's brother Uther, Dedu, and fuck, not Lion. I didn't play the GBA games. They always get Ipe to draw the funny-looking characters. We got Erica, Linus. I knew it was an L name. Oh, that's a Formotus with Reagan's ancestor. The Cayenne Soul. These guys in their game, they got a really suspicious relationship. Whoa, it's Ike and Robin. Was Legendary Robin last year? I felt like it was the year before. Robin, Hector, and Babby Robin? No, not Babby Robin. Babby Frederick. What am I saying? I just said Robin. Who do we have here? This is Kagetsu from Engage in the back. We have Male Korin, the Go, Lucina, Anne, Crom, and who's that? Ursula? I believe that's Ursula in the far back. Who's the yellow-haired character? I can't tell. They're too small. Bernie? Bernie Bros? Bernie Bros! Bernie Bros! Bernie Bros! Bernie Bros! There she is! We got Risotto and female Alir. Well, that's a shipping style image right there. Oh my god, Gold Mary! And Bernie again? We have Sharena, Alphonse, and Anna. I cannot pronounce this character's name. Do not get me to. I will fail you. Pajazzy? Maybe the P is silent. Whoa! What is this outfit from Fayorn here? It's the new OC on the right, Rune. Oh, that's cute right there. That's their mother in the center, Henriette. She's an OC. Introduced during one of the events. And there you go. That's it. That's it. That's right. That's the direct. That's the direct. So there. Let me pull this back up. Oh my god, I'm trying to pause it. I'm looking for the right there. This is what we need. We need this on screen. You were here. You were here for this moment when the results got revealed. Okay, let me pull this up as well. But did you guys like it? Did you guys like it? We still won, but now I have the fear that we're not going to get as good of a unit. I thought we were overwhelmingly going to be in first because the Japanese base that Byleth has, but I guess it just wasn't enough. Mission accomplished. Yeah, mission accomplished. Azura is the next. Yeah, I want to do Azura or Aquasan next. But yeah, overwhelmingly mission accomplished. I'm still kind of like sitting here, kind of like taking it all in, because I was really like going as soon as we saw like, you know, okay, the leading up to it, right? The week leading up to it, I felt like Sigurd, it was gonna be like Sigurd second place and then Byleth first place, and then as soon as we got the top 5 per games, it kind of just settled in on like everyone across the community that was probably gonna end up being Ikdenir in the second place slot, and then the final results get revealed, and you know, there's that majority right there, the silent majority that Phil always talks about. He ended up getting first place. Top 20 standing. Okay, subreddit. Yeah, let's take a look at the subreddit. Well, I mean, I don't have to go there, actually. I can just go to the Twitter account, mate. Let's see, what time is it right now? 9:40? I'm not gonna spend too long. I'm not like an analyst guy. I can only give you so many lukewarm takes. Or Modus will win next year. He better not. Okay, yeah, Hero Rise is going on. As soon as the results get posted, as soon as the results get posted for Choose Your Legends, they go straight into a Hero Rises. So we're gonna pull this up and see. Oh wow, yeah, we got a lot to work with. You know what? We can just pop this in the Brave. Alright, as for Roller Coaster Tycoon, what was I doing? I was supposed to, like, make a coaster or something? Hold on, I'll look at the results, but I at least gotta make my coaster. What's the height here? Okay, that did not work. Oh, that's so weird. They're not going to be able to clear that. Okay, let's see if they clear that. Let's give that a test. And we'll now open the Brave browser and hope that the MSI can take it. Alright, it appears to have loaded. Give me 1 second. You're giving me so many seconds as is. I'm gonna bring this here. I need you to complete your loop. I'm testing it to make sure that nobody dies. Becomes Flip before, man. Make a ride that's just a glorified tour of the park. I think that's pretty much what this is. I just had it going over the lake of lava here. Okay, it went over the hill. It got stuck before and I had to close it. You see, we got the go-karts, observation deck, we got the slide, the coaster, the haunted house, the space rings, motion simulator, the bumper cars. I called it the dented dodgems. Alright, it made it safely back. I just need that to happen. What do we call this? This is a dragonfly coaster. Wait. Darziak's Dragonflies. There we go. We'll go ahead and open it. Okay, so I have the final results pulled out. Let me just get Brave. Go ahead and, yeah, we'll let the game run, but I'll go ahead and mute it. The top heroes from the Choose Your Legends Round 9 event will appear in-game with Choose Your Legend Edition outfits. Hashtag FE Heroes. Men's Division, Eekdenir, first place from Heroes. Second place, Byleth from Three Houses. Women's Division, Shrena, Heroes. Second place, Baldur. So we're gonna go ahead and take a look here, listen, see where everyone else ended up. Okay, so we get like big versions here. Wow! So yeah, we saw the vote tallies in the stream here. Eekdenir beat Byleth by, let's say, well, just say 800, give or take. Byleth had all of his votes combined from the, not just Three Houses, but also his votes from Three Hopes. So that kind of boosted him a bit. People really, going in, we thought he was going to get lowballed, but it turns out he may have been overestimated. People thought he was going to get like 16,000, almost damn near 20,000. Does not seem to be the case. But check out the gap between him and Sigurd. This is consistent with the performance he had last year. I think he had over 2,000 votes above Sigurd. Sadly, it was not enough for Sigurd to bump Byleth off here. 4,000 votes over him. Formotus, the other meme Reddit character, came in at 9,000. Was not able to quash Sigurd, not even making it into top 3 here. I felt like it was going to be FOMO's year anyway. He got a lot of hot discussion at the start, but it didn't really last. Sylvain was a primary Fujo character to vote for. All the Felix voters seemed to transfer over to him, and he shot right all the way up to the top 5. It could be realistic that he wins next year if he gets a strong rally and we don't have a new game coming out. Black Knight, favorite character among international people, but he sadly was kicked out the top 5. Then we got Diamant, Leaf, I feel like the Leaf people should have rallied more behind Sigurd. Like, imagine if Leafs voters, if Leaf voters just all the way just went up to Sigurd, they would actually bump Byleth off, wouldn't they? Because he has 3,700. Yeah, that would fuck over Byleth. Why didn't they coordinate? Well, I guess if you like Leaf, that doesn't necessarily mean you must like Sigurd. Itsuki and Crom round out 9th place here with 3,000. Then Yuri, 10th place, 3,000. He's the main character, the Lord of the DLC, but because he's DLC, he's not as you know, at the top of the charts as like Edelgard, Claude, and Dimitri. Okay, but more interesting is who ended up from 11th to 20th place, because these we just did not know the placements for going in. We have Mayo Corrin somehow beat Mayo Alir, but they share the 11th and 12th spot. They did not crack the top 10. Nobody loves the male versions of these characters. Maybe eventually they'll get enough pity votes to take the spot. We got Toma and Kane. We got Takami from Fates. We have Leon from Sacred Stones. Shezbros, no! Shezbros, only 2,000 votes. But we did beat Allchrist. For some reason, Allchrist dropped hard. That's actually very, very sad for Allchrist. Or Staluk, as he's called in Japanese. Akakak. But look at Diamant. Diamant, 4,000. Allchrist, only 2,000. I wasn't Allchrist top 10 last year? Eagle's favorite character, Ash here, only 2,100. Then Leo, and then Reinhardt. Reinhardt cracking the top 20. Now, females. Oh, wow, this was very close. You know, we already know from the stream, but Sharena, first place. Balder, second place. If Balder had even a little bit more of a rally from like Reddit or the voice actress doing her thing, she would have defeated Sharena soundly, and then we would have had two like temporary popularity book because they're from like, they call the ARCs books, so like two temporary popularity characters, like they're only relevant when their current book is relevant. We would have had like two temporarily popular characters taking the top spot. Sharena I accept, because she's a main character who's always appearing in the main story. She's never gonna go away, so it makes sense that she would win eventually, and I'm surprised she didn't win already sooner. But yeah, you have Balder here in second. And yeah, yes, Azura, Aqua-chan, 9,000. Only 9,000. I think this is her best. This is her best performance thus far. She could win next year. She could win next year if the bros rally. And then there's Ivy. Ivy-chan. Wow. This is shocking. Again, going back to the top 5 per games that I just showed you, I think everyone expected Ivy to not only be first, but Ivy to be over Sharena, Balder, and Azura. For Azura to beat Ivy is especially eye-opening. I think that's my greatest takeaway from the results so far, is that Engage has fallen off so hard that Azura ranked higher than Ivy. Now, I think of the votes that you guys submitted, we had like, I lost track, but it had to be over 100. I'm just saying, like, if we had rallied for Azura instead, it would not have made a difference. But I feel like with the power of everybody else, especially if we don't get a new game next year, if we do not get a new game next year, Azura could make it. We've gotten to a point where she could make it. And we got Tsubasa and Sita. These are just like Itsuki and Crom from earlier. These are from the Wii U JRPG. This bit kind of like Persona. Yunaka 6th place. Yunaka fell. Was Yunaka not 3rd place females last year? Yunaka dropped like a rock. Then you got female Lear, Hilda, Daria. People had hopes from Daria because she ranked 1st place in Awakening. When we looked at the top 5 per game, she ranked 1st there. So I think people were anticipating that Daria was going to be within the top 5 for females. Freya, people had hopes for Freya being within top 5 females, but she only got 3,000. She was below Daria. I am really impressed with Azura here. 9,000, like, dude, if we had a bigger rallying, like, I'm not just saying, like, just the Dingus stream. But if like other sites rally together, like this is like only 2,000 votes. 2,000 votes could have cracked her in second this year, but Baldur was just too strong. Okay, speaking of Dorothea from Coggers, 3,000 has Dorothea in 11th place. Hoder is a new character from the current arc, only 2,600. You see the massive drop-off between Dorothea and Hoder. That's where it seems like this is where we start dipping into like 2,000, 1,000, maybe even the hundreds. No, it can't be. Valencia, Vale, 2,500 votes. Mia, Shez. This is very interesting because people like to always say that the female avatars are more popular than the male avatars. This is true for Orin and Alir. I can confidently say that's true for. For Robin, the male version is much more popular. And for Byleth, I would say the male and female are kind of like on equal standing, with maybe the female edging out by a little bit. Like, it's not a blowout of a popularity difference compared to like Corin and Alir. But Shez is like a unique situation. So Shez has 2,000 votes, but if we go back to male Shez got like 200 more votes than the female counterpart. Just something to note there. We got Lapis, 1,900, Nino, 1,800, Lilina, 1,800. Look at the difference here between Nino and Lilina. This was a 20 vote difference. And then Sita, 20th place. Sita is always a bridesmaid, never a bride. I don't remember what Sita's highest placement was. But I'm gobsmacked by the results here. We were so close, guys. This is why next year is gonna be Aqua's year. We gotta rally for her. Then you have the blue-haired Pegasus girl. Yeah, the classic trope. At least you got commitment to Dorothea Coggers. Yeah, ultimately we gotta chalk it up to a Reddit dub. Reddit won, guys. Eek the near 15,000. 15,000! And like, it wasn't just the Dingus Bros. Reddit and Twitter and Serene's Forest and Blue Sky, everyone talking about this event. YouTube, fucking Sangers. Sangers thought Byleth was a lock-in for first. Could not understand why anyone would vote for the meme Redditeer. You know, he's live too right now talking about this. We may go raid him after this before anime night. He'll probably give a better analysis than me. I'm just giving you my raw, my real, my so fucking raw and real thoughts right now, chud. But yeah, those are the two takeaways for me. The fact that Byleth wasn't more of a blowout than what we thought. And just the fact that Azura was so close. Azura was this close. We can make her happen next year, chat. It's happening. It's real. We got a rally. We got a surge. Ivy's just gonna drop. Any engaged character is just gonna drop. No, Byleth still wins. The only concern is, Chrono had brought it up earlier. Chrono said it earlier, is that even though you win Choose Your Legends in second place still, you're probably gonna get the weaker competitive meta unit when the new variants finally release in August. Byleth's version is probably gonna be weaker than Ikdanir. It's kind of lame. Because Ikdanir just got a Christmas alt that's pretty good. So he already has his base version and his Christmas alt, and yet he just won another alt again. Is Azura the waifu? Yes. Waifu! Waifu Aqua! That's the only sore spot, is that, you know, he got second, so the unit will probably be weaker than first place. And he won't have another chance for a better unit next year because he already won, so he'll be disqualified from voting. Yeah, ultimately still winning though, which was the point. That means Cerulean86 does owe the 5 promised subs that he promised you, the viewer. So the next time you see Cerulean, you better yell up his stack. Seru, you promised us 5 subs, Seru. Seru, why are you cowarding out? Seru, why are you ducking us, Seru? Seru, you said 5 gifted Dingus subs. Seru, you promised the viewers, Seru. Seru, you promised Dingus. Now guys, I never promised that. Seru promised that. That's an extension of the promises made for you guys voting. Seru added that in as a cherry on top. So you'll have to, refer to my secretary. Refer to him. Refer to him for any information, questions about the promised subs. Switch 2 should get a Fate Sport, since you can't even legally play the third choice anymore if you didn't buy it before the eShop closure. Yeah. It's kind of like, that shit's, it's not lost media. I like, lost media as a genre is kind of overblown. Oh, it's lost media, but it's like some fucking mediocre Southeast Asian English dub of some anime you don't care about. A very vague descriptor, but like that's what I think of lost media as a sector. But yeah, as for stuff like that, like games, yeah, you literally can't legally play you can't play Revelation anymore. Unless you have the special edition card, like me, it's going for $500. Unless you have that version. Or unless you sail the 7 seas. Revelations is legit garbage leap. That's why they should remake it. That's why they should port it. They should port it and remake it. And make it better. Yeah, most people like Conquest. I just like Revelations for the aspect of getting to recruit all the characters, but you're right. The story outside of just getting to have all the characters, it's less than stellar. It's certainly no Three Houses or Genealogy or Path of Radiance or Iridian Dawn, which I think those are ones people can agree have pretty strong stories, the narrative department. But Conquest has the gameplay, so if you play any of them, play Conquest. Is Aquatic Ambience on repeat? No, I'm manually repeating it. You not want to hear it anymore? It's pretty chill, come on. Birthright isn't that good either. Yeah, I would put Conquest and Birthright, then Revelation in terms of overall quality. And then it also kind of applies in every department except music. For gameplay, it's still Conquest, then Birthright, then Revelation. Revelation's maps are just the worst. Is Awakening still the best FP? If you say that in most Fire Emblem communities, you'll get laughed out the room. Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum. Yeah, Awakening's not even close to the best. I have a soft spot for Fates. I like Fates. I know it's trash. I know like 2/3 of the game is garbage, filth, gutter, garbage, but I don't care. It's got a 0. So it's good enough for me. There are a few other characters in that game I like. But obviously I have a bit of a bias because that was really like, see, okay, I got introduced into Fire Emblem. Surprise, surprise, shock of shocks through Smash Brothers 3DS. I saw the trailer for Lucina's reveal with Robin, so I picked up Awakening. I liked Awakening well enough, but following the hype train for Fates, the pre-hype season, all that shit, that really got me into it. Like I felt like I don't know, when you like hype beast a game for the first time, and like gaming wasn't really that, like gaming was fucked, but it wasn't that fucked back then. And you're hyping shit up with like a crowd of people, you're discussing like the leaks and shit. Because this was back when games would still get, like, they had Nintendo Directs, but Fates would still have information drops through like Famitsu magazine and shit, or whatever equivalent the scans were from. It's like the same way you would get like Pokemon leaks and reveals from Famitsu scans as well. It's the same thing, it was just that for Fire Emblem. So where we get like info dumps like that. It was exciting. It was like, oh my god, the next info dump. You would follow the pre-release season. You see all the trailers. Then the game comes out, and it's just the game comes out and it's available in Japanese only for months. Doesn't get translated into English until months later. Then all the names are changed. Everyone spurgs out over the name changes. Kamui becomes Korin. Aqua becomes Azira. Marks becomes Xanda. And then some of the names remain the same, like Camilla and Elise. Leon becomes Leo. Just like the weirdest name changes that people cry about. But like name changes have been a thing in the Fire Emblem since like the GBA days. Nintendo's always changing names. What happens less often in the Switch era. Like there is a name change in Three Houses for like Ash's surname, but that's like the only one, and I don't even understand why they changed it in the first place. Engage has some name changes too, but nobody talked about them because it was a worldwide release. The reason why the Fates name changes were so heavily discussed is because, you know, again, as I said, there was a month's wait between Japanese version and the English version. So people get accustomed to the Japanese names in English circles, and then you gotta like tell these people, hey, you gotta get used to this name now. So people get autistic about it. But we don't have that anymore with the worldwide releases. You get shit day one. You just get adjusted to the English names like that. The few names that are changed, no one talks about. Because it's like, well, it's already in English. I didn't have to wait for it. Awakening had that issue too. But I wasn't there for Awakening's pre-release cycle. You fell for the marketing? Yeah. And then Fates finally comes out, and it's okay. It's okay game. Yeah, Treehouse butchered Fates' localization. That's true. But I've talked to Def about it. Oh, it was a different time. That was back in the Wii U 3DS era where they were censoring everything. Fucking everything came out, got censored in some way. Torrential Downpour and those other movements dedicated to documenting all the changes. That was kind of like... that was like around Gamergate time too, so of course all these other outside factors come trickling in to talk about like your hobby and shit. People that might not have like the best of interests, the Ralph mail in particular, bish, and all these other grifters, proto-grifters. Like before people started saying grifter, these proto-grifters come in. And Metacritic called them out too when he finally left Gamergate, but that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying that was like the for the hill to die on for me for like the censorship and shit was like back then. Now, when a game gets like censored or rewritten or by Nintendo or whatever, depending on the game, usually a Nintendo game. For example, Paper Mario remake last year. Does it sting? Does it hurt? I guess. Am I gonna cry about it and rant about it and go retweet Grums and shit? Nintendo is killing games! No, the time for me to do that was 2015. I got that out of my system. Like Engage got hit heavily by localization. It was not anywhere near as bad as Fates, because Fates actually removed modes. It removed visual shit, like shit on screen, like actual content differences between English and Japanese. It was a completely, not a completely different game, but like a different game in the sense of the content you were allowed to look at. For Engage and Three Houses, there do exist localization differences, but it's just text. It's just text-based. That's why people do often talk about the localization changes for those games, but it's not as prominent because, again, it's just shit in the script. You can't really rally up a crowd. You can't galvanize people to cry about censorship when it's not fucking booba. Atokonoko. Think is gonna retweet Grums every single day. I don't like Grums. Grums is dented. Grums is controlled opposition. We hate Grums. You hear that? We hate Grums. Yeah, Fates has untranslated DLC. That's true. Chrono's right. There's untranslated DLC. Because I guess it was too much to translate for Treehouse. Events between, so you can pair characters up in the game, obviously, in Fates. And then if you got this DLC, you can get unique conversations for every possible pair-up in the game. Every possible pairing. So every spouse and their potential child had a conversation, and they just decided not to translate it. And just, I'm too lazy. It was kind of tough. They also released like a Halloween festival. I think that also went untranslated. That was just for additional conversations between the regular characters, not the the parents, the potential children they could have. I like when studios have in-house localization teams, so very little different. Well, in the case of Fire Emblem, it is in-house. It was translated by Nintendo Treehouse. It's just in-house means Nintendo of America, not Nintendo of Japan. Nintendo of Japan just like pats Nintendo of America on the back and just expects them to do it. Now, there is other teams that look after Fire Emblem stuff for translation. 8-4 is sometimes contracted to translate Fire Emblem stuff. They translated Awakening and Fire Emblem Warriors and Fire Emblem Echo Shadows of Valentia. Whereas Treehouse did most of the prior Fire Emblem games up to that point, but they did Fire Emblem Fates and Three Houses and Engage. Oh, 8-4 also did Shadow Dragon on DS. So if you're ever wondering why, you know, certain games are translated better in English than others, that's kind of like the divvy there. 8-4 tends to be more flowery with their text in English, a little bit more purple prose, while Nintendo of America Treehouse tends to be more jokey. Soleil gay cure shit was very annoying. I really disliked how the fandom at the time tried to gaslight everyone into thinking that she was a lesbian when she wasn't even the bisexual support for female Corrin. She just takes after her father Laszlo, so she hits on girls because her father Laszlo hits on girls. But she had no bisexual supports. Canonically, like, I'm sorry you guys, she could not romance the female Corrin character, and she couldn't romance any of her other female comrades. She did, however, have multiple male heterosexual S ranks with male characters that were all rewritten to be more platonic in English for some reason. God knows why. But it was very unfortunate what they did to her. You know, canonically from her selection of supports, you know, you can only romance dudes. Wow. Maybe if they remade the game today, they'd give her lesbian options, because nowadays in modern Fire Emblem, you either don't have romance like in Engage, or you have romance and everyone can romance everybody, almost everybody, like Three Houses. To the point where there's like multiple same-sex endings, some of them platonic, some of them implied romantic, and there's just so many that they're kind of just there, I guess. Sometimes you can get them without even trying, like you don't even try to get a same-sex ending in that game, you just get stuck with it. What's weird though is that it didn't really get as much of a hoopla, Three Houses adding all the same-sex pairings versus like Fates adding. For Fates it was like a big deal, all the game journalists were talking about it, major reports everywhere. But I think that was coming off the reaction to Tomodachi Life, 3DS Tomodachi Life, not having same-sex marriage. Yeah, romance dingus. Maybe Dingo's romantic. Don't you like pairing up characters in games? There are gameplay benefits to it too, and then you get an additional unit out of them marrying. Delorio just like to see people single. That's tough. Pick up GP and WoW. Dingus talks a lot about Fire Emblem. He must be really a fan. Shame he never fucking plays Fire Emblem 6. I know, right? I told Goon we gotta clear off the palette here. We gotta clear off the slate, a clean slate of games. And then the priority after that is gonna be Extra Life stuff, which I'm doing right now by playing Roller Coaster Tycoon 2. I think Fire Emblem kind of fell off a bit on the normies' radar. Yeah. Because people that got brought in by Three Houses, they didn't come back for Engage, unfortunately. Because the people that Three Houses brought in were like people like, they liked Persona. They liked how the game played like Persona. They got brought in looking at it thinking it was like Harry Potter and some shit. And Three Houses had like a more serious vibe. Whereas Engage was a return, the form, whether you like that form or not. Three Houses was made by Koei Tecmo, whereas Engage was made by the regular standard team at Intelligent Systems. So Engage brought it back to the tone of Fates, where it's kind of sillier, kind of not as serious. Honestly, kind of like a Saturday morning cartoon. I kind of said that when I played it. It feels like a show you would tune in to for Toonami on Saturdays. It had that kind of vibe going on with it. Didn't make it bad. I liked it. I liked the characters, but it was lacking in the narrative department compared to Three Houses. If you got in Fire Emblem through Three Houses, you were no doubt disappointed with Engage. And it's not like I wish people knew that Three Houses was developed by Koei Tecmo, because they probably think it's like, oh, what happened? They had it so good with Three Houses. How did they fuck it up with Engage? Well, they were in development at the same time. Three Houses was developed by Koei Tecmo at the same time that Engage was being developed as an anniversary title by Intelligent Systems. But it missed the anniversary date, so they had to push it back to 2023, January. And now that game is 2 years old. It doesn't even feel 2 years old. We're already 2 years since Engage, and no new game in sight. People feel like the next game is going to be a remake. Is it going to be a remake? Is it going to be the next proper game? The next brand new Fire Emblem installment? What is it going to be? We'll never know. But yeah, the people who came in for Three Houses did not stay for Engage. The sales reflect that too. Engage is like 1 million, maybe 2 million by this point, whereas Three Houses, runaway success, 4.5 million and some change. Even the Muso spinoff, Warriors 3 Hopes, I think that's one of the best-selling Musos ever, only beaten by Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. Of course, all the best-selling Musos are the Nintendo ones. Yeah, I'll drop. Were a ballot stuffing effort successful? Yes. We did win. We did win, Aldrinot. Byleth W. Massive Sensei win. But first place was taken by the deer. The Reddit deer did take first place. I'm still kind of sitting here rambling, just coping about it. I'm coping. Everyone told me first place was a lock for Byleth. It doesn't matter because he'll still get his version. But everyone said first place Byleth. Everyone said, we looked at the statistics. We pulled up the Reddit predictions. We pulled up all the numbers. We ran all the numbers. How could he lose? He still won, but he lost. But at what cost? Yes, Seru still owes subs. So if you see Seru, tell him that subs are owed. He doesn't have to do them now, but he did promise them. That's between you. That's between the viewers, you, i.e., and Seru. It's not between me and Seru. It's not between me and you. It's between you and Seru. Want an Age of Calamity, but we'll probably wait for Switch 2 for better performance. I imagine it'll get a performance bump. I think that's all I can cover. Unless anyone else want any Fire Emblem hot takes I can spit out. Otherwise, we're probably going to raid Sangers, so he can give a more detailed take on Choose Your Legends, on the numbers and whatnot. And then I'll get ready for Anime Night. That I will not be doing. Cogger seems to be under the belief that I'm going to be doing Anime Night. That's not true. That's not true! I don't know what the fuck he's talking about! Anne's back, so Anne can do it. It shouldn't be like a crossover title, TBH. When I saw them summoning Marth, I tuned out immediately. I knew it wasn't serious. It was always meant to be a celebratory anniversary title. But since it had to follow up Three Houses, the fans brought in by Three Houses obviously expected the sequel to be like Three Houses. I feel like the people brought in by Three Houses did not go back to play the earlier games. Either laziness, or they chose not to, or some other combination of factors. They just did not go back to play the earlier games. They just played Three Houses, expected the next game to be more Three Houses. They kind of got more of it for Three Hopes, but that was just the Muso. Then Engage came out, some goofy Saturday morning cartoon shit, which I enjoyed, but not everybody enjoyed. And then we're sitting here, and we don't know what direction the franchise is going to take next. We're just kind of in that lull. We're in the calm before the storm, before the big reveal. That's me. I'm sitting right here in the calm before the storm, waiting for the next game. I'm waiting for the next game. Where is it? No! He's raising us? You mean razzing? You can't even spell it right. Acting like I'm razzing you. You're fucking razzing. Who's razzing? I'm razzing. You're razzing. In the end, did it even really matter, bros? Yeah, hell yeah, it still mattered. I'd still have fun. I guess I'll cover when the units actually come out. That'll be in August, though. You guys are gonna forget about that shit. And of course, I'll still watch random trailers whenever they drop. But I think that's it for me. My big takeaways, Byleth wasn't first, and Azura almost beat Baldur. And I guess people just thought Baldur wasn't going to make it, but she ended up making it. Other than that, Byleth, Eektanir, and Sharena were expected, but we didn't expect Eektanir to be in first. Bye-bye music? Yeah, it's time to roost. Yeah, we're gonna raid Singers, but I believe Tevin is restreaming. Well, no, it's his day off. Wow, I forgot. It's Phil's day off. Yes. Thank you for the Mr. Pibb. Oh, we got everyone live tonight. Conky, Trashman, Law of Power, Bread, Zuki, Wookie, GPM, Ree, Shroom, Duke, Them, and Tevin Guy. Hello, Bean. Sorry I didn't make 800 alt Nintendo accounts. I know, right? We only needed 800, Bean. What the hell, man? Now, don't worry about it. Botting was, they figured out the solution to the botting problem. Botting was possible, I think up to the 4th or 5th year, then they required you to make a Nintendo account after, so kind of like close that off. We need to make 800 Nintendo alts in order to bot correctly, and ain't nobody got time for that. Thanks for the cope stream, you're welcome. It's not a cope stream, we won! It's not a cope stream, guys, because I said so. Alright, last thing, we're gonna go over the park one more time. I feel like this, I wasn't paying as much attention to the park as I could have. But here we have the final rendition, because we beat the scenario. Oh, I have 7,000. Oh my god! There are 900 people in the park. This is Unga Bunga Grugland, is the name of our beautiful, illustrious park here. Yeah, it's so crowded. Mamma mia, what are people thinking? It's too crowded here, it's too crowded here, it's too crowded here. 31 people think it's crowded. We have the Dented Dodgems. The One Day Off Simulator. Dono Crisis 3D. It's a dinosaur-themed movie. The Haunted House's Snort Fort. The Pterodactyl Coaster. The Diminishing Returns Slide. Unga Bunga Grug's Gut Drop. That was a suggestion for a tower ride. Oh, the Grug-a-Go-Go cart's broke. We got Dono Crisis Spin. It's one of those spinny rides you see at the county fair. This is Darziak's Dragonflies. I'm sure he likes dragonflies as much as he likes dragons. Yeah, I guess Cat broke the carts. No. For the soft toy, cuddly toy store, we called it Ant Store. Drinks, we got the cherry juice stall. For ice cream, cherry flavored ice cream. For lemonade, we have, well, lemonade. We have Cobra's Mountain Dew Mead Cantina. That definitely sells mead. Trust me, guys. The hat store is the cowboy hat stall and sells Dave's hat. Donuts is Dono Crisis Donuts. And this one's a unique Tevin style meme. Raising Cane's fries, but it's just the fries. They don't have the chicken. And then we got another drink stall, the seltzer bottle stall. Restroom, which is $5. The $5 El Cheapo restroom. Both of the ATMs are Citibank ATMs. The other restroom is Dave's Scat Fetish restroom. And then we have the info style kiosk right at the entrance of the park. This is what we were able to do in only roughly 2. Wait, whoa, wait. What's he doing here? What? How did he get here? Why are people just hanging around, huh? People are just getting lost in my dinosaur wonderland. I've done this scenario a few times before when I used to play the game growing up. I feel like I had better iterations on this scenario in the past, but I did the best I could with the time I had allotted to me. And we did beat it within the requirements. Was beat the scenario before year 2 August. No, year 2 October, rather. I beat it within August. Bro, how do people get getting stuck? Oh, I see. Oh, I see. They're choosing to go out, like, once they're right here. For some reason, some of them can walk out right here to this area. I can see why people would say it's crowded, though. Tycoon 2 is dominated. This park is. All right, we'll save it. We'll save it, and then I'll still play it because I said the last week's stream didn't count as it was just me testing to see if it worked. But I owe one more stream for the Extra Life charity rules, and there's nothing saying that I can't keep playing it afterward. I may just boot it up for fucks for who cares on whatever nights that I feel like playing it. But we'll keep doing scenarios. The last one we did was just the kingly medieval style if you missed the last time we played this. And I thought we go with a Grug theme this time. Maybe next time we'll do, because we've only done Time Twister parts so far. Maybe next time we'll do like I mentioned earlier they got the African scenarios, so we could do like an African tribal music style park. Or we could do like an Asian park. Cat is not Asian. No, not Cat. Leanna is not Asian. That is all park. The possibilities are endless. Alright, but that's it for me. Anime night is due to begin in 30 minutes. We're gonna raid Sangers because he's talking about the Choose Your Legends. He'll have a better analysis than me. But thank you very much, everyone, for stopping by to another short Saturday dingus situation. Tomorrow, I think I put it down for Mario because we'll do Grand Theft Auto on Monday. Grand Theft Auto 1. Don't get too excited. We're gonna have more blinding. Like Jade is not gonna like seeing me play that game. Jade's like his eyes are gonna turn into goopy mush, and they're just gonna like fucking drizzle down his cheeks. The eye jelly, the melting eye jelly. Yeah, but thank you guys. Thank you for, of course, for stopping by, for chilling, and voting in the event. If you voted in the event, you didn't have to, but you did, and it seemed to have mattered in the end. Even though we kind of weren't in danger of anything because we were 4,000 votes above Sigurd, but still, it's the thought that counts. The thought that counts. Next year, we're gonna rally for a female style. We're gonna actually rally for a lady character. Next year is Azura's year at last. It'll be fitting too. It'll be 10 years since the English release date next year. So I think we should really rally for it. All right, I'm talking way too much. This whole last 30 minutes is just me rambling about the absolute state of Fire Emblem. This really was a cope stream. Pablo, you know what to do.
It's nice to rest your
Thanks for stopping by. Big ups to all the dingas, dongas, and swollen __ ones who made it to the end of the stream. You didn't have to sit through all the stream, but you did anyway. Yeah, big ups to Lint, BR Joe, Coggers, Deloria, Sweet Bean 96, Pim Pam, Eddie B 43, Bruno, Serenex Sinestro, Aldernop, OMG Zelda, Toshi, Carl, hi Carl, all the lurkers, whoa, really appreciate the lurkers, dude, and anybody else? Let's pull this up here. Let's see here. Thank you to Sparkles for the follow, Cart for the follow, and Cams for the behind the scenes follow. Whoa! Yeah, take it easy, Flam. Alright, we're rating Sangers. He's seething. He's seething over the results right now, so we need an appropriate reaction. Yeah, he actually came in and said these are the goated overlays I've been told so much about. He didn't literally say that. That's me paraphrasing. I was like, yeah, these are, sir. These are in fact the goated overlays. Alright, I'm typing out the raid message. Goated as in made by a goat. Not that goat. This is me quite a lengthy paragraph style raid. Alright, the raid message is all the relevant information. all my relevant takeaways that I care about regarding the poll results. But you can go wherever you want. There's like 1,000 people live right now. I'm rating him because he's the only person, only other person live who's talking about the results. Nah, there are some people live. Usually the Fire Emblem category is dead as fuck. But yeah, bye-bye, adios, mimi time. We'll see you when we see you. And if we didn't see you, then we did see you. But if we did see you, then we saw you. And if we didn't see you, hopefully, we'll see you next time. If I could see myself in the mirror each and every single day, hopefully I can inspire viewers like you, Rue, too, to see themselves in their mirrors. Each and every single day. This is the longest raid in history. What the hell? Just fucking do it already. Where's the 10 seconds at? There they are. Bye-bye.